at Minnesota against the Golden Gophers. And next Wednesday in Columbus, Ohio against the Buckeyes of Ohio State. We'll have all those contests right here for you on Channel 4. Tonight, of course, comments from Coach Knight and Jud Heathcote. We'll also have some commentary and highlights from Ted, and we'll take a look in the mailbag. So we have a lot in store. We trust you'll stay with us.
Tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at S10, Central Indiana's best-selling compact pickup.
Where's your tan? You've been out playing golf in Florida, but I see no tan.
No, most of the time I had a visor on while I was there. I was playing a little golf, but my wife's got a nice tan. She laid out around the pool, and we had a very enjoyable time in Florida.
Must be nice. Well, with 6 games to go, we'll get back to business now in the Big Ten. 6 games to play in the conference. Indiana with a 2.5-game margin over Illinois. It'll go to 3 with a victory this evening. There's the top 5 in the standings with Indiana at 11-1, Illinois 9-4. Then it's Iowa, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And surprisingly, in the second 5, Ohio State not up a bit higher than that than Minnesota. Purdue in action this evening, Michigan State, and Northwestern. Tonight in the Big Ten, number 13 Michigan is at Columbus, Ohio to play the Jay Bursonless Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll talk about Jay later in this evening's program. And Minnesota is at Purdue. Last week, for those of you enjoying a big victory over Michigan, it took a last-second, and I do mean last-second bomb by Jay Edwards to defeat the Wolverines 76-75. It was the kind of contest I would have to suspect that Coach Knight enjoyed.
Well, I think it was very enjoyable. I think that at the end of the game, you were able to see how
enjoyable it
was for Coach. He obviously enjoyed the game, and it was a great game. I think everyone played well. As we start out the highlights here, Lyndon Jones did an excellent job all day. I think IU was really looking to isolate people, and that's why they played a lot of one-on-one that day. The problem was defensively, we really couldn't handle their people one-on-one. Ramil Robinson had a field day against us. Also, Loy Vaught and Glenn Rice also played very well for him. Joe Hillman takes advantage of a very, very poor Michigan defense here. Michigan just did not recognize very well, and I think these are the problems that Michigan has and why a team with great athletes loses games like they do, is just because they sometimes don't have their head in the game. Jay Edwards did an excellent job of not only getting open to shoot the ball, but this is just a tremendous pass. He reads Jadlow the entire time. Earlier on in the year, I don't know if they would have made this play. Jadlow might have stood in the corner and never made the cut. They've gotten to where they read each other a lot better now. Todd makes an excellent cut, and of course, Jay Edwards gets the ball to him. Here again, Lyndon Jones isolates Ramil Robinson, goes one-on-one. I think IU looked to isolate himself and Glenn Rice whenever they had the opportunity. Again, a great pass by Jay Edwards. He was able to draw the defense to him. Todd finds the open spot and is able to get an easy layup. Jeff Oliphant, it's nice to see him shoot the open jump shot. I've seen him hit a lot of three-pointers. I know he's a great shooter, but most of the time it was in games where IU had a big lead. It's nice to see him come in and hit a big jump shot when the game's on the line. Here, obviously, very, very poor defense. Nobody picks up, nobody recognized, and because of it, they get an easy layup. We're getting down to the end of the game, and I always enjoy seeing Jay Edwards come off a screen really looking for the jump shot. I think Coach Knight, that's the type of offense he wants to see, and that's when Jay really plays at his best. Here, I think the score was tied 60-60, and you know, everybody knows exactly who's going to get the ball. They still can't stop him. Jay Edwards gets a three-point play, and I think ties the game at that point. We were down 3. Just makes an excellent head fake, goes to the bucket, is able to hang in the air and get the shot off, and we've seen a number of three-pointers already this year. Here again, Jay draws the defense to him, is able to find the open man, and Jamal Meeks just does an excellent job of driving to the bucket there. You're able to see the quickness that Jamal has. And coming up, we're going to take a look at the final 15 seconds, the sequence that I think all of us remember. And, you know, we've probably all seen it, 10 or 15 times by this time, but it's still very, very exciting. And as Jay comes off the screen, you can see the clock goes to 0, and Jay hits the jump shot. It's It's a very exciting moment. I think it's one that, you know, IU's won, again, a number of national championships, and of course we all remember those great shots, but I think that's a shot that we'll all remember too.
Much has been said and written about IU finding a way to win. We're down 11 in the second half to Purdue, down 14 at home against the Golden Gophers. It took that last second shot. Somehow, somebody pulls through.
Yeah, I think that you find teams like this once in a while, or individuals like this. I think, you know, big keys, of course, are Joe Hillman. He does not let the team die, no matter how, you know, how far down they get. He always has a spark in him. He always plays hard and gets the other guys to play hard. And then you have two individuals like Lyndon Jones and Jay Edwards that, you know, again, I've watched them through high school, and they've been in a lot of close games, but very seldom did they lose the close games in high school. And, you know, certain people have a knack for that. And Lyndon Jones, obviously, when he came down the floor, he was not looking to shoot the ball. He was looking to find Jay Edwards, because I think in his mind he felt if he could get the ball to Jay Edwards could win the basketball game for him.
And speaking of those two guys from Marion, next Wednesday during the Ohio State pregame show, we're going to have Coach Bill Green, the most prolific high school basketball coach in the history of Indiana high school basketball, with 6 state championships, so be sure to join us for that one. Well, earlier this week, Chuck Marlowe talked to Coach Knight about tonight's matchup with the Spartans.
Michigan State is a tough team for us to match up against, playing the lineup that we normally play, Chuck, because they've got really good quickness and they have no center. They're a team that has probably the best mobility and flexibility of anybody in the league, with the exception of Illinois. All their people are interchangeable. They shoot the ball very well. Kirk Mans has had some great offensive games for Michigan State, and he's as good a quick shooter as I think we have in the Big Ten from a three-point range right now. Smith is a kid that I really like as a player. I think he has a chance in the next couple years to develop into an absolutely outstanding basketball player. And Redfield is just a step behind him. We had a very tough time getting started against Michigan State at home. We were behind through much of the first half, and then made a couple of baskets late in the half to tie it at the half. So this is a team that I think is capable of playing against anybody, like every team in this league is at one time or another. You know, people talk about how the league is tougher than it's ever been before. I don't think it's any tougher than it's been as long as I've been around it. And I think when it comes to basketball, through having played and coached, I've been around this league longer than anybody that's in it by some time right now. And I have seen it where there have been a couple of better teams when we've had outstanding teams. Perhaps there's a little more equality than ever before throughout the course of all 10 teams. The league is very tough. It was tough last year. It's going to be tough next year, and we start a 6-game finish to our season with Michigan State, and it will be a very tough 6 games for us.
We're going to look into the future next. If you'd like to know what our hairlines will look like in about 10 years, we have an interview coming up with Jud Heathcote, so stay with us.
Forces up the shot. No good. Loose ball. Game is over.
And right in the wide forehead. And so since Lou Henson is not on with us this evening, we'll give you an indication of what we may look like in a few years. So right now, let's check in with Chuck Marlowe, who's talking with Jud Heathcote.
We've struggled this year, and we've got a young team and a team that's going to get better in the future. But for now, you're right, it's been a struggle.
You've had some improvement on the team. Redfield, since the last time we've met you, has picked his game up, and your outside game has improved quite a bit, too.
Well, I don't know. I don't see a great deal of improvement in our team or our individuals. That's what's been disappointing. And Ken Redfield was playing very well and suddenly had the ankle that plagued him all year re-injured, and he hasn't played very well. He's kind of on about a leg and 3/4, and it shows up in his rebounding stats, his point total. He's had 3 straight games now where he hasn't been in double figures, and that's not typical of Ken Redfield.
You are a similar team in many ways to Indiana. You don't have a lot of inside game. You have to rely on the outside quite a bit.
Well, we're a perimeter team just because we don't have any what we would call a strong center, and we don't have good post people even of our forwards, and so we don't get the ball, we don't challenge anybody inside, and we have a great deal of difficulty, Chuck, in defending the post. You may see that we may turn Jadlow or Anderson into All-Americans tonight.
Yeah, but you may have a few surprises, too. You're anxious to get over here next door in the new Breslin Arena, aren't you?
Well, that's right. You know, it's going to be a great facilities. I enjoyed Bobby's comments when he said he has no nostalgia whatsoever for this place. He just, as he said it, damn glad to get out of here. And so maybe we're very, very happy to move into the new arena.
Speaking of the field house, which is one of the older ones in the Big Ten, seats about 10,000, can get very noisy up there.
Yeah, it's an excellent place to play. I myself kind of enjoy playing in the older arenas. When we used to play there, also at Kansas State. There's not many of the old arenas left, so you know, it is a nice place to play.
Jud Heathcote in his 13th season there at Michigan State, highlighted by an NC2A national title back in 1979. Which team did they beat?
Indiana State.
Very good. Magic over Bird, right?
Yeah, Jud Heathcote's had some great teams. I think when you look back and you talk about great teams in the Big Ten, obviously you look at IU and the 76 team, but the 79 Michigan State team was a great team. And as we play them tonight, it's going to be a very tough game, and I think it's a very key game in that it's a game that we start a 3-game road trip, and it's one that could be very, very important, and it's good to get very important to get off in a good start.
We talked about this earlier in the season. This is a ball club at Michigan State that can be very, very good in the next season or two.
Yeah, they've got some excellent athletes. Ken Smith is an excellent player. Redmond, as Heathcote had talked about, they've had some injuries this year, and I guess that they're nursing some injuries tonight. But again, it's a team that has a lot of quickness, and they jump very well. Here they get the ball out quick. Redmond is not a guy that's going to stick the ball on the floor very often, but he can stick it in the basket. He pulls up, hits the jump shot there. Steve Smith is a guy that rebounds well. He shoots the basketball well. And he's a guy that you got to keep off the boards there. Jay Edwards does not get a body into him, and he's just a very, very good athlete. And I think the last time he had close to 20 points against us. He's a guy that can go outside and shoot the jump shot. He can go inside and post up, and he's a guy that gives us a lot of difficulties. Here we stick Andy. Eric is not quick enough to guard him. And then earlier you saw that Jay Edwards was guarding him, and he's a little bit bigger than Jay. Kirk Mans is a guy that's, when they talk about a guy that is in the game to shoot the basketball, that's what Kirk Mans is in there. He's not in there to rebound or play defense or anything else. He's looking for that opening so he can bomb that three-pointer. And as Coach Knight mentioned, he's got a very, very quick release. He's a guy that can be stopped if you put a lot of defensive pressure on him. But as soon as you go in Indiana's defense, they're always looking to help. If Michigan State gets guys driving to the basket and we have guys helping off, I would think that the guy who is guarding Kirk Mans is not going to help off very much because he is probably looking to stay head up on him and not let him get the basketball, because if he gets it, he can shoot it. Ask Gene Cady and the Purdue Boilermakers.
I want to make a comment again about Jay Edwards. We talked all season long about the leadership of a Joe Hillman. But right now, Jay is saying, hey, in a close contest, when it's tight, I want the basketball. I'm the Iceman. He is going after it, and the other players seem to me to have that confidence. Let's get the ball to Jay. He can stick it in.
Well, Jay is that type of player. He's always been that type of player ever since he's been at IU. He was that type of player when he was in high school. He has a lot of confidence. He doesn't worry about losing the basketball. The only thing that's going through his mind is that he's going to get the ball, he's going to make the shot, and he's going to win the basketball game. And, there are a few people that like that situation. I myself, would have liked that situation. And, obviously he's done a tremendous job, and, he's hit 2 or 3 shots to win basketball games for us this year. Still, I think Joe Hillman's leadership is a real key on the basketball team, because all the people, I think, look to Joe to get them up, and he really does an excellent job of getting them ready to play the entire game.
Coach Knight calls this a difficult contest, a good challenge. We simply can't get off to the slow start this time around that we did the last time, because we had the home court advantage, if you want to call it that. We had the home crowd there. We don't have that tonight. It's not an easy place to play, and I would think that immediately from the opening tip, Indiana has to be mentally in the game. Yeah,
we'll have to be mentally in the game, and again, that's very important before you ever step on the floor. A lot of times Coach Knight can read, I think, how his team's going to play before they ever walk out. And some nights I used to walk back in the locker room and he looked kind of worried, and I thought we better, get things going, because he obviously doesn't think that we're ready. So it's very important that they go out, and in the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the game is so important to get into the game. Not that they get a big lead or anything else, but just that they're playing hard, getting into the offense and doing the things right. And, you know, that's so important for Lyndon Jones, Jay Edwards, and Joe Hillman to get them into that. And it'd be very important if Eric Anderson and Todd Jadlow could give us some scoring down low.
We have the mailbag coming up, a few more surprises, so stay with us and we'll come right back.
How do you tell the difference between MG bacon and all the other brands? Well, just listen to the delicious sizzle. Smell the mouth-watering aroma. It's the perfect taste with eggs or pancakes in the morning. The best part of a delicious BLT. A great seasoning in so many dishes. Don't settle for anything less than the leanest, most flavorful bacon you can buy. Only MG bacon really satisfies. Gimme MG.
As difficult as threading a needle or taking a step, the victim of stroke or other injury has one goal. In South Central Indiana's only inpatient rehab center, patients make careful progress towards regaining independence and returning to a fuller life in their own home sweet home. The sweet, simple goals of living. The new rehab center of Bloomington Hospital can make all the difference. All it takes is a phone call.
It's tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at Chevy, Central Indiana's best-selling full-size pickup. You get $500 cash back, save $1,900 with option discount free. On top of $2,400, you get big tax sale discounts.
Save hundreds on full-size Chevy pickup with more standard power, more payload, and higher MPG than Ford. And now get 4.9 financing on select models at your local Chevy dealer.
Get your cut now before the tax man gets his.
Busy, busy, busy. That's you all over. But that's why that great green growing group of banks is all over Central Indiana. With a card for cashing personal checks at any Merchants National Company office. For depositing to your checking or savings account anytime at any Green Machine. And for feeling good all over. The Green Machine card. More boing for your buck. Only from that great green growing group of banks, the Merchants National Companies.
Here's a question for you, Ted. What's the difference between an arena and a field house?
You got me.
Succinct answer. Well, if the arena is the oldest, then Jenison Field House must be the oldest field house.
Okay.
All right. Small, 10,000, very noisy, difficult to play?
Very noisy. It's an excellent place to play. I always enjoyed playing in those type of arenas. The people are very close to the floor, so obviously the students really get into that type of atmosphere. It's kind of like a Duke atmosphere where the student body really gets involved.
Did you ever have some loyalists travel up to Michigan State?
Yeah, we did. The one I remember in particular was in 1981. Our final game was at Michigan State. We were playing for the Big Ten Championship. If we won, we would win it outright. And there were about 100 IU people there that day.
And they were the only 100 happy people there at
the end of the game, obviously.
Well, you know, we hear from Coach Dockage, a graduate of the IU Telecom program in Bloomington, each evening after the contest. Now, tonight, we're going to hear from John Laskowski, who's a business major. Let's see how he does at interviewing some loyalists from Shelbyville.
Today at halftime regarding people that travel with the Hoosiers. Of course, it's tough to get a ticket at Assembly Hall, just as tough to get a ticket on the road. And with me today is Vicki Bowling, a transferred Hoosier living here in Lansing. Tell us about the little party you had at the hotel this afternoon.
Well, we had it for all our friends that come up from Indiana to the ball games here in East Lansing. We moved here about 4 years ago, and we always like to see them, so it's a good opportunity for us all to get together.
You made us feel very welcome there today. And Rudy Tholman from Shelbyville. You brought a large group from the Shelbyville Knights of Columbus.
John, I think large was defined perhaps more by size than numbers, but it was a large contingent. I'll accept that.
And you've been to Assembly Hall. Tell me, what's the difference between a game at Assembly Hall the Hoosiers play and a road game?
I think the biggest difference is that Assembly Hall, you go down there with a feeling that you're going to win. You think your home games are easier. and it's a comfortable environment because you've been there a lot of times. A road game, it's a lot of anticipation because when you go to somebody else's place to play in the Big Ten, you never know for sure if you're going to win, even if you think you're supposed to. And so it's a different anticipation.
Okay, thanks, Rudy. And on my left is Norman Browning. Norman, your brother and I, of course, were roommates in college. This is your 6th trip now to Michigan State. And, of course, you have national acclaim now as being on the screen after Michigan's defeat Sunday at Assembly Hall. You try to catch a lot of games, don't you?
Well, I do. I try to, I've been very fortunate to be able to catch a lot of games home and away. And then I feel very good about that.
All right, crowd, we've got to cheer the Hoosiers on. How about a big roar for Indiana? Hey! Following the Hoosiers on the road.
At least the weatherman cooperated to give them some good roads to get up there. If they went up I-69 or I-65 to Chicago, they'd be in trouble. Okay, the mailbag now. This is from Ina Mosley from Plainfield. Says on several occasions immediately after a men's basketball game in Assembly Hall, the managers have started taping the floor around the baskets with white tape several inches wide. She wants to know if this is for some practice purpose.
Yes, it is for some practice purpose. The lines I'm sure that you're speaking of, one line is a parallel line that runs parallel to the baseline. It's about 5 feet from the baseline, and then there is kind of a semicircle line that runs just inside, I think, the three-point line, if that's the ones that you're talking about. Basically what they're used for is in practice, Coach Knight is wanting you in your offense. They're used on the offensive end of the floor. He wants you to keep your offense high and wide. And so when you set screens on the side, he wants you to set screens outside of those so that the man coming off the screen has some room to work inside. It's not all bottled up. And he doesn't want you to get the offense down on the baseline. So when you go down, you don't want to go down any farther than the white line. So he wants you to keep it high and wide as far as offense.
All right, if you have a question for us or a comment, once again, here is the address, the pregame, in care of WTTV, 3490 Bluff Road, Indianapolis, 46217. Obviously, we get much more mail than we can address here on the air, but we certainly appreciate your comments and your questions, and we'll get to them as we can. We'll take a break. Career of Jay Burson, you lost a few games your senior year because of an injury. He is a gutsy performer.
He's been a very gutsy performer, and one that I think, not only myself, but all the Indiana fans over the years have enjoyed watching. I think, most of all, he's just a great competitor, a guy that doesn't have a lot of natural ability, but just sticks his nose in there every night, gives you 40 hard minutes, and, just really, really enjoys to play the game. I think that, I not only speak for myself, but the people of Indiana when we say we've enjoyed the contribution that Jay Burson's given to Ohio State in the Big Ten over the last 4 years.
And I know Coach Knight is a big fan of Jay Burson. Hope he gets back and has a shot, perhaps, at the pros, even though he's small.
Knowing the competitor he is, he will.
Let's take you now to East Lansing, Jenison Field House with Chuck Marlowe and John Laskowski.
This is the final meeting of Michigan State and Indiana in Jenison Field House. Next season, the Spartan home games will be played in the new Jack Breslin Student Event Center, scheduled for completion later this spring. Tonight, the Spartans will go for it all against the conference-leading Hoosiers, a must game for IU. Stay tuned.
Indiana University basketball. Brought to you in part by your Central Indiana Chevy dealers. In Central Indiana, we drive Chevy. By Bank One, we're 18,000 people who care. By your local AgriCenter dealer. For your farm, your family, your piece of America. AgriCenter means more. And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
Indiana University basketball is also brought to you in part by Hook's Dependable Drugstores.
We're live from Jenison Field House in a very snowy East Lansing, Michigan. Tonight, it's the Spartans versus the Hoosiers, and every time we come up here, it's a tough battle. Tonight should be no exception. Hello, everyone. Chuck Marlowe, along with John Laskowski. Well, John, aside from the Spartan green, there's a lot of cream and crimson here tonight, too.
There are a lot of Hoosier fans here. Remember what happened last year? Indiana lost by 1 point in overtime. Michigan State always seems to play well here at home.
How about the matchups tonight?
That's been a problem because Michigan State really doesn't have a center as such either, but they do have some quick inside players, so Indiana's concerned with the quickness of the Michigan State players compared to the Indiana players.
Well, Indiana still employs this three-guard offense we've seen.
I think so. Both teams like perimeter scoring. Michigan State's lost 5 games in a row. I don't think that's good.
They have a couple of injuries. Steve Smith is questionable just how well he's going to play.
Right. He's their big leading scorer, about 16 points a game, and he's been slowed with a knee injury, and Wolf, of course, has been bothered with a shoulder. So they've got, they both have practice, though, and I think you can hear from the crowd when Indiana comes to town, the team gets ready.
Well, Jud Heathcote is always ready for the adversary that's here tonight from Bloomington, Bob Knight. Both teams are out here on the court. We'll be back with our starting lineups in just a minute.
Son, getting those chores done, aren't you?
I'll get right to it, Dad.
In the driveways, the backyards, the playgrounds, and the barns, it's a part of growing up in Indiana, where the tradition of great basketball begins.
Time out, son. The Hoosiers are on.
And here is where great basketball continues. It's time now for Hoosier Basketball, brought to you by your local Chevy dealer. In Central Indiana, we drive Chevy.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, and for the team, for the sweat, for the drive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
This Bud's for you. This Bud's for you.
The door to your future is right in your neighborhood. College credit from Bank One gets you where you want to go. Choose from a variety of student loans that can open doors for you. If you've got what it takes, go for it. Go for college credit at your neighborhood Bank One. It's the loan to learn.
You aren't getting the facts on meat. Marsh has meat NutriFacts for pork, beef, and lamb. The most complete set of nutritional facts available. Calories, fat, cholesterol. Every bit of truth in a 3-ounce serving of meat is displayed at the meat case. Not only does Marsh have meat NutriFacts, they have recipes. Free brochures that offer fast, fabulous, healthy ways to prepare your pork, beef, and lamb. You value knowing the facts, and at Marsh, we value you.
Well, as there you see the records, Michigan State in non-conference and conference play with an above 500 average, 12 and 10, but it's been the Big Ten that's been their big downfall.
It has. Don't forget the game that Kirk Mann's had. As you look at the two coaches, Jud Heathcote on the right, he scored 40 points against Purdue. As we look at the records, Jud Heathcote 12 and 14 versus Indiana, the best record, one of the best records of a Big Ten coach against Coach Knight. Indiana Coach Knight is 22 and 13 against Michigan State. You can see there the two coaches get along well.
Well, and a good point that's borne out by what you see right there. Both men very high in integrity, and their concept of how this game should be played from the student-athlete standpoint, I think, is almost parallel. The officials for tonight's game have moved over to their respective positions in front of each bench and also here at midcourt, and we're set for the starting lineups.
Here are the starting lineups for tonight's game. For Indiana, at forward, a 6'9" freshman from Chicago, Illinois, number 32, Eric Anderson. At forward for Michigan State, a 6'5" junior from Arlington Heights, Illinois, number 24, Todd Wolf. Forward for Indiana, a 6'2" senior from Glendale, California, number 44, Joe Hillman. Forward for Michigan State, a 6'7" junior from Chicago, Illinois, number 20, Ken Redfield. At center for Indiana, a 6'9" senior from Salina, Kansas, number 11, Todd Jadlow. At center for Michigan State, a 6'7" freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan, number 35, Matt Steginga. At guard for Indiana, a 6'1" sophomore from Marion, Indiana, number 4, Lyndon Jones. At guard for Michigan State, a 6'2" freshman from Inkster, Michigan, number 11, Mark Montgomery. At guard for Indiana, a 6'4" sophomore from Marion, Indiana, number 3, Jay Edwards. And at guard for Michigan State, a 6'6" sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, number 21, Steve Smith. The Hoosiers of Indiana are coached by Bob Knight. The Spartans of Michigan State are coached by Jud Heathcote.
All right, your officials for tonight's game. Joe Sylvester is the referee. Sam Licklider, there's Sam in the middle, Joe on the left, and Mike Stockner will be the two umpires. We will be set to get things underway here. Just a passing thought, lads, as we look at the Indiana bench. Normally, traditionally behind this bench, a Michigan State professor of economics, Dr. Walter Adams, I believe, is there, and there is an exchange, a mutual exchange of gifts. I've been looking for Dr. Adams tonight.
Didn't see it today, but he really got on Coach way back, and then they started presenting us with gifts. Look at the last game. The Hoosiers outscored Michigan State 42-27 in the second half, so it was close up to the half. And again, Redfield is a very quick player inside and has good games against Indiana. It'll be Anderson trying to stop him today. And Michigan State, as Indiana, likes to score from the perimeter, so we should see some outside shooting today also.
All right, there are the matchups tonight. Redfield, Anderson, Wolf Hillman in the middle, Steginga and Jadlow, and you see the two guards. Indiana is 22-13 in Jenison Field House under Coach Knight. And the tip is controlled by Michigan State. That's Redfield, number 20. And moving in right to the top of the key and going right to the basket. Shot is missed by Montgomery. And Indiana off with the board. The Hoosiers with their first trip down the floor. Just underway and 30 seconds into tonight's game. Good pressure by Michigan State. To Jadlow to the basket for two.
Jadlow's played well in practice this week, and there you saw a quick move to the basket. Gets Indiana's first hoop. We saw Redfield on Jay Edwards that time. Redfield is a forward, a little bigger than Jay. Really hawked him all the way on that possession.
Now Edwards matches against Montgomery. And Indiana switching. As Wolf comes out, Edwards down the front. Ball lost out of bounds off the hands of Steve Smith. We said Steve was questionable. He's had an injury, has bounded back from it, and then re-injured. So
got that big knee brace on it on his right leg. He was not practicing Sunday or Monday, but is back in the starting lineup now.
Edwards down to the baseline, a little hand check. And the first foul of the game is called on Smith, the Detroit Pershing sophomore, 6'6".
That's Redfield, 20. And he's the one who started on Edwards. I think this is a change from the first game. Redfield a lot bigger than Jay, who is a forward. Redfield's a forward, and they've got Smith now on Anderson. Quite a change in the defense there for Michigan State.
All right. My apologies for the confusion. Redfield 20 and Smith is 21.
See him out there on Jay, really playing up close with him.
And he is right on him, lost out of bounds. So good pressure forces the turnover as Michigan State trailing in this game 2-0. Will have a chance to bring it down and set it up. Jud Heathcote in his 13th year, looking for his 4th conference win tonight against 9 losses. A little weave across the top by State.
Good recovery by Edwards that time. Got back to Smith before he could get the shot away. He likes to take that outside shot.
And here is Wolf from outside for 3. Todd Wolf. He is 18 for 36, 50% from that area, now 19 of 37. And Michigan State takes a 3-2 lead. Underneath, and a little pushing underneath between Jadlow and Steginga, and Matt Stegenga is called for the foul.
And there you see a battle really between the two centers, but I think they both rather be playing forward. And Jadlow got the better of that. It looked like he's working well for that inside position. He got that first layup because of his good position. That time he drew the foul. Look at him inside, although now Redfield's on him. So I think Michigan State is switching a lot. But there you see Redfield back on Edwards.
All right, Edwards works it out. Back down to Hillman, right in front of the Michigan State bench, to Jones. Indiana patiently working to set it up. Jones will fire. Shot was partially blocked. And the loose ball picked up by Steve Smith to the left side. A little elbow thrown there, but it's not going to go. And Anderson pulls down the board for Indiana. Eric playing with a rubber cast over his left hand and a plastic splint to keep that thumb from hyperextending. Offensive foul as Edwards took it hard to the basket, but good position by Stegenga. And that's the first foul on the sophomore from Marion.
Jay made the drive that time to the left, and Stegenga had to come to help. The shot went in, but it won't count because of the charge.
It is 3-2 Michigan State. We have played 2.5 minutes. Tonight's game from Jenison Field House. Last one that you'll see Indiana play here. And it's loose enough off the glass and put in by Ken Redfield. The officials stopped play just momentarily, and I'm really questioning what it was, lad.
Well, you're not allowed to touch the ball that comes through the net. One of the Michigan State players grabbed it. You can get a delay of game call on that, so they just gave a warning that time.
Underneath from Hillman to Jadlow, tries to put it back up. He's blocked, but gets the recovery. And these Michigan State fans behind us show their appreciation for good deed. Up the delay, the foul, and Hillman goes to the line on a good move.
Excellent move. You see, he had to wait on that shot to prevent it from being blocked, and knew he had drawn the foul, and then still got the layup. Let's take a look at it again. He's driving with his left hand. He's got position on Wolf as he gets around him, and Stegenga has to come to help, and it's too late. Great play by Hillman.
That's the second foul on the 6'7" freshman from Grand Rapids. And the first free throw for Indiana off Hillman's basket makes it a 3-point play, and Indiana is back in this game. We're tied at 5. Overtime victory by Michigan State here last year, and Indiana would love to avenge that tonight. They're 11-1 in conference play, can ill afford a loss on the road in this trip. Quick shot, no good. Tipped up and in on a miraculous shot by Steve Smith.
I think he was just trying to grab that rebound. It was on one hand. As he tried to pull his two hands together, the ball flipped out of his hands, went in the basket.
Anderson, Hillman underneath, and Indiana doing a good job of rotating the ball into the post, last.
Well, Jadlow's got in there 4 times, and twice he's come up with layups. So an excellent job with him moving inside his 4th point.
Tied at 7. Wolf. Montgomery to the top. Back to Wolf. Down to the baseline for the shot. And saved by Michigan State. Outside, Stegenga for 2. Well, Michigan State has 4 players already in the scoring column.
Wolf was able to follow his own shot that time and gave Michigan State that extra shot.
It falls.
Well, he came off a pick that time. I think with Redfield's quickness, Indiana's going to have to pick on Edwards, so Edwards' defensive man, to get him open. That time you saw him come down the baseline. Chuck, what a soft shot. Of course, everybody knows about that shot he hit against Michigan last Sunday.
Oh, boy. Stegenga works up against Anderson, not going, and Anderson very quick. A good job of recognizing that Stegenga is not closing him on the rebound. He just goes right to the board. Drive in by Lyndon Jones for 2. There's an alley. There's an alley against that 2-3, and he read it right away.
See, and there's some Indiana quickness right there. Wolf saw him coming, but Jones was able to get to the basket before Wolf could recover, and that's where quickness really helps.
Indiana with a 2-point lead. Feed inside to Stegenga. Goes right over Anderson, right over Edwards, rather, for 2 more. Matt Stegenga with his 2nd field goal. And we're tied at 11. Jones looks to Edwards. Well, that was the combination that set it up last Sunday. Oh, good move, good lean in. And Anderson had his man moving, but still, or Jadlow rather, and still took it to the rim.
So Jadlow is just being able to run from one side of the block to the other, and the defense is playing behind him. I think Indiana will take the ball in him as much as they can if that's the way Michigan State's going to defend it.
Michigan State trailing 13-11. Over it goes into the corner. Wolf fires, no good. Rebound out to Indiana quickly, but Edwards with that high dribble slows it up.
Indiana shooting well. That's their 5th straight shot that they've made. Give them a 2-point lead.
Well, they get the one thing that Indiana has had a little bit of trouble with this year is when they get something going through a run of patience, they get a little out of tempo last, but right now they're showing some good patience.
Very good.
3 on the way. That's not going to go. Jadlow fights for the ball, but it's pulled out by Montgomery. Good shot. Just didn't fall. Edwards walks over defensively to pick up Wolf. Redfield guarded by Anderson.
Good picture there. You saw that switch as Edwards popped out to prevent Montgomery from getting the shot.
That went right through the arms of Hillman. He deflected the ball away from Montgomery. And once again, there's that guard weave. They like to use that quite a bit. Shot is no good. Indiana good board position. Smith, and he carried the ball. Lyndon Jones, just a very, very quick move. Steve Smith back defending, and he carried the ball. We have a timeout. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Indiana Basketball Network. The score, the Hoosiers 13, the Spartans 11. The secret to Indiana early has been Todd Jadlow.
Watch him inside. Michigan State's playing behind him. The ball's come around the horn, and it's easy for Lyndon to get that pass into it. And then Todd just takes a turn. He's got a 3-foot shot. He banks that one in. So Indiana should go to that as long as Michigan State will allow it. Let's take a look at the field goal percentage. Indiana 6 out of 9, 67%. We mentioned the 5-0 they've hit, but again, Michigan State is out shooting them at least in number of shots, 5 out of 12. Just 42%.
It's a 13-11 Indiana lead. We have 12 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. Whistle out on top, and there's an offensive foul against number 10 in the lineup for the first time, Kurt Manns. Manns setting a pick, apparently moving, and he's called for his first personal.
That was the back cut to allow that high lob pass. Smith was going to cut to the basket, and the back official away from the ball makes that call, so it gives Indiana another possession.
Hillman down to the baseline, right over to Jadlow, and he is hammered as he goes up, and they point to Smith.
Like he twisted that ankle as you see him just limping a little bit. Lyndon Jones checks on him, so he'll be all right. I think Indiana's a type of team, Chuck, that'll take what opportunities another team will present, and I think the biggest opportunity right now is that low post feed into Jadlow. All right, got fouled that time, but we'll go to the line.
That was something I was going to ask you, whether or not Indiana would be content to play this kind of pace.
You know, if Edwards could score 20 or 25, they went to him a lot, but you really go with the play that's open. And remember, Jadlow had the great game against Iowa, which enabled Indiana to win that ball game. So the good team like Indiana has a lot of different ways to score.
A reach up over the top. Jadlow was not
to the floor, but nonetheless, the basketball is good.
That's 42. Parrish Hickman, 6'7", 205, just a freshman from Detroit, getting a hoop there.
Jadlow with a turnaround off the glass and good.
Now there's a big-time move. You just saw him fake to the left, turn back to the right, and then we have an official's timeout. I think Smith got hit in the mouth, and see Joey Sylvester taking a look at him.
Okay, Smith walks away 21, and we have a timeout. An official's timeout has been called. So you're watching Indiana basketball from Jenison Field House in East Lansing, Michigan. The score, Indiana 17, the Spartans 13.
We got our communication system from Indiana Bell, and we got the around-the-clock service and the reliability that go with it. All the people next door got theirs from somebody else, and all they got was phones.
For the service, the systems, and the solutions that work, call Indiana Bell first.
Tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at S10, Central Indiana's best-selling compact pickup. You get $750 cash back, save $1,200 with option discount free. On top of $1,950, you get big tax sale discounts.
Save hundreds on S10 with more V6 power, a bigger payload, and longer, wider box than Ford Ranger. And now get 4.9 financing at your local Chevy dealer.
Get your cut now before the tax man gets his.
Laz, here's the man.
Watch Jadlow. He turns away from the basket this time, so Hickman can't stop the shot. He's got a nice angle. That's a tough shot. Look how high off that white block. He had to let that shot rest for it to bank right in. Jadlow's 4 out of 4 from the field. And there's the rebound, 6 and 4, and Anderson has 5 for Indiana. So right now he's out rebounding Michigan State. Still a worried look on Coach Knight's face. Too early in the game to be happy yet.
Well, 4 points doesn't mean that much. Boy, look at that move. What a move that is. Credit that basket to Jesse Hall. Number 23, a sophomore from Venice, Illinois.
That's a play you can set up at a timeout. Michigan State needed that to pick them up.
And that brings this cheering section behind us to life. Indiana needs a basket here to quiet them down. Inside to Hillman. And a whistle stops the action. We have a foul against Michigan State. I think Hickman is playing a pretty physical game inside against Jadlow. That is the 16th foul against Michigan State.
I think the Spartans are trying to push Jadlow out a little farther. They realized how low he was getting that ball. You see Jud talking to the official. They're trying to put a little more pressure on him.
And we have an offensive foul against Joe Hillman. Quick adjustment by Jesse Hall. Getting in front of Hillman as he made the move, and Hillman got a shoulder into it. Now Bob Knight is saying if you're going to call it down there, call it down here. So Michigan State with a chance to tie this game. Smith, quick move on Hillman, and he throws it over the rim. Edwards tries to work it in, drops it down to Jones, back to Edwards for 3. Oh, yeah!
Great recognition by Jones. Edwards made the drive, and as Jones man double team, Edwards of course dropped it off, but Edwards defensive man fell down, and so Jones got it right back to the open teammate, and of course that's been playing so many years together.
Mike Stockner making the call, a turnover, travel against the Spartans. Jenison Field House seats just a little over 10,000, maybe close to 11. The new Jack Breslin Student and Sports Center will seat about 15 plus. And needless to say, Spartan administration very anxious to get into that. We have a foul against Indiana. There's some pushing and shoving, and that's going to go against the center. Todd Jadlow, his first.
He's trying to get open inside, and the intensity has really picked up in that fight for inside position.
Jadlow with 1 personal foul and 10 points already, and we're nearing the 10-minute mark.
5 turnovers already for Indiana. That's high for this early in the ball game, just halfway through the first half.
And there's that little weave. They break it up, however. Indiana, as Hall gets it back. Hall likes to dribble. That's one thing I know Indiana scouted Michigan State for. They like to put the ball down.
It's Mans right there, number 10 from North Judson with the ball. Great outside shooter.
Yeah, you don't give him a lot of room to shoot. Wolf, a good three-point shooter, too. There's Mans. He's open. And it's not going to go. And Jadlow almost got a little careless with that ball. Turned it back in. Now Indiana is careless on the pass. Here comes Hall. And good step in by Edwards.
Well, that's good hustle. Jay was at the other end of the floor. That pass got stolen. He beats down a lot of the Indiana players down the floor and catches up with that errant pass.
Yeah, that high dribble almost got him in trouble there. Down to the baseline. Oh, what a move!
Well, he got around two players. Wolf, he got around easily. And then as Hickman came over to help, he just kind of ducked that head right under him. Ends up with a layup. Chuck, this can be a critical part of the game. Indiana's up 7 right now. And we mentioned that it was very close in the first half at Bloomington. And then once Indiana got the lead, it was a lot easier for them. It could be the same situation here. Edwards with a big rebound.
Man's missing again. And again, I say you don't want to give him room because he can burn the eyes out of it. Blocked and saved by Hillman. And out of bounds off Hillman's hand. Right in front of the Michigan State bench. Substitutions, Redfield back in for the Spartans and Montgomery as well. So Jud Heathcote going to his bench, recognizing that he's going to need as much stamina as possible to stay with these Hoosiers.
Indiana really on a tear, shooting 8 of the last 10 shots they've made.
Jamal Meeks for Indiana in the lineup now, 23. Montgomery. Smith from outside, no. And the rebound to Jadlow. Knocked away. Scramble, loose ball. Montgomery. Indiana bench wanted a foul on that. No call by either official.
Moving the feet well. You saw Anderson that time cut that baseline drive off.
Knocked out of bounds, and Jamal says he touched it, but then says good call. Michigan State down by 7. 22-15. 8 minutes, 5 seconds remaining. In the first half of play on the campus of Michigan State. Drops it off Montgomery all alone. That doesn't fall. Jadlow trying to back away, chased out by Indiana. And we have a timeout. Another official timeout called. With that, we'll remind you you're watching the Indiana University Basketball Network, where Indiana leads this game 22-15.
If you're looking for a rotor or a windshield wiper motor, yeah, you'll find it at CarQuest.
No matter what you drive, you'll get unbeatable performance with Champion spark plugs. Champion gets your engine started right away and running its best year-round. So for sure starts and protection, be sure to go with Champion.
Take it from Roy Clark and the repairmen. If it's a really tough part, then don't lose heart. Yeah, you'll find it at CarQuest.
For your farm, your family, your people of America. AgriSense means more.
Today's game is brought to you in part by your local Cyanamid AgriCenter dealer, representing America's best agricultural suppliers and committed to helping farmers care for the land.
AgriSense means more.
We hope all of you enjoy today's game.
You know, this last move by Edwards has to be a lot of an instinctive.
Goes with his left hand there. Watch, he gets around both players. Nearly steps on that line, and then it's just an easy two-step right there for the layup.
I say instinctive because, you know, there was good defense out there. A lot of other players would stop and really not see the opportunity.
Well, look at the field goal shooting now. Michigan State 7 of 19. 37%. Look at Indiana, 9 of 13, 69%. And Indiana leads the rebounding battle 11-6.
Well, there's another turnover, costly one for Michigan State, an opportunity to edge back into this game. And let's see what the Hoosiers can do with it now. Spartans really staying up close. And Meeks is a catalyst to this team. He can get things going.
Inside, Anderson leans up and gets the drop. His first basket.
Sloan's in for Jadlow now, so that moves Anderson into that offensive position of going from block to block. And he took a nice little jump hook shot there, got a good roll.
And lost out of bounds. No save, good save.
No call as Sloan went down, and there was no call. That was the groan from the crowd.
And there's travel against Michigan State. Indiana really playing aggressively to the loose ball, and Michigan State with maybe a little bit more athletic effort toward it last, but they're turning it over.
And that's helped. I think that's the pressure defense on Indiana. The one thing different about Indiana's team compared to the other teams that Michigan State would play in the Big Ten, I think, is that pressure man-to-man defense. I don't think they get used to it, and that's why we've seen so many turnovers here early.
Underneath, he waits. No, they call travel. That is a pretty good call by Sam Licklider.
Anderson again getting that position inside, but had to move that feet. That's Michigan State's 5th turnover, or Indiana's 7th. Michigan State has 5.
Montgomery works up against Meeks and throws it away.
There's another one. That's just good pressure by Jamal. He forces a pickup of the dribble, and then the pressure for the man receiving the pass, nobody's there to catch it. So I think Michigan State's going to have a hard time getting used to that. You can see that lead now creep to 9 points, 6.5 minutes left in the half.
Well, they want the ball in this man's hands. He can force things to happen. And Hillman as well, very smart player on the court. A lot of pushing and shoving underneath. Anderson with a beautiful back cut, misses the bunny underneath, and then commits the foul.
I think that ball got tipped out of his hands a little bit by the Michigan State player and made that easy shot a lot more difficult than it looked. Let's see what happens. You can see he's not happy with the result, but there was a switch inside, left him wide open. Watch from behind. See that ball gets tipped a little bit, and it really should go as a block shot, and that forced Anderson to miss it.
24-15, a 9-point Indiana margin, and an offensive foul is called against 21. That's Steve Smith's 2nd.
That was Hillman on the defense, always trying to keep that baseline drive away. Jud Heathcote not happy with that call.
Stegenga is back in, replacing Smith. Stegenga at 6'7", Smith at 6'6", so they gain an inch, but lose some scoring potentials. Stegenga averages 8.5, and Smith, leading scorer for the Spartans, kicked, and it'll be Indiana's ball. Reset the clock. Smith with 17.9 average this year.
And he's only held to 2 points so far here in the first half.
The wheeling move, and we have a call against Indiana. Carry of the ball or a foul? 44. Joe Hillman's first.
Be on the pick then. They called it on Sloan, 45.
All right.
For a moving pick.
Is Jeff Kassler. He's a sophomore from St. John's, Michigan. He handles the ball across the top. Michigan State really trying to find some chemistry out there, some combinations. All alone for Wolf on a good read from the corner. Ken Redfield.
There was a switch on a pick, and both Indiana men ended up on the same offensive player. Of course, left Wolf wide open.
Indiana hasn't scored for a while. Anderson back out. Sloan meets, and there is a foul that goes against Redfield, and this time the pick was set.
There. See Redfield, he really takes a look there at Wolf and says, you got to tell him when that pick's coming. Here's the inbounds pass by Edwards, and here's the foul against Sloan. Watch him now, he's moving as Hillman is calling for the ball. And right there is where he gets called for a foul. He didn't plant those feet at any time and left Hillman wide open.
The foul on Redfield was the 7th against Michigan State. That puts Indiana at the line to shoot. And Brian Sloan, who is not really that articulate at the line, will be shooting 1-and-1. Brian, 6'8", a senior, called in strictly for role play, and his role is to set of screens. He down picks. He cross screens. He'll back pick. And he does it unselfishly for everyone. And in doing so, gets some shots.
Does, and makes 2 big free throws there. Get the lead back to 9 points.
26-17 with 5:02 remaining. Won't fall. Hillman works it out. And here comes Indiana with the ball and the lead. Sloan looking, no one coming to it. Edwards fires 3 and scores.
Double pick on the weak side that time, and Edwards gets open. Chuck, you just can't give him that half second. Jud Heathcote's got to call timeout now. The lead is 12 for Indiana.
You're watching the Indiana University Basketball Network, where the Hoosiers lead the Spartans 29-17.
It's tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at Corsica from the best-selling compact line. You get $600 cash back, save $1,200 with option discount 3. On top of the $1,800, you get big tax sale discounts.
Save hundreds on Corsica with V6 Air and Automatic, priced thousands less than comparable imports. Plus 4.9 financing on selected models at your local Chevy dealer.
Get your cut now before the tax man gets his.
All right, call me when the dust settles. Right. Frank, haven't seen you in a while.
Bob, who do I talk to about those CDs you're advertising?
CDs? I thought you were sold on market timing.
Don't remind me.
At Bank One, we think the time is right for our federally insured savings plans and CDs to protect your money and earn high interest rates guaranteed.
Yeah, you're right. It feels great to have some money in the bank.
Bank One, 18,000 people who care.
Well, there you see the score. The time remaining, 4:40. We're in the first half of play. There's some red up there in the stands, mixed with a little blue and some green. But
I think that's our gang from Shelbyville right there. That's our large group from Shelbyville there. As you can see, some of the large members. Indiana's 11 of 16, 69%. Excellent shooting. And they're holding Michigan State just 8 of 21. Indiana also 5 for 5 from the line. Michigan State has not taken a free throw yet.
Steve Smith back in the lineup, plays with that heavy brace, and his play is somewhat limited as you look at the turnovers evening out. Watch to see what that timeout does for either team. This is Kassler. And out it comes. Redfield tries to work on Hillman, gets inside, misses the shot. Indiana makes the save, but right back into the hands of Kassler.
But the save came all the way to half court. Good job by Jamal there. You don't want to throw it underneath the opponent's basket.
Michigan State showing some patience in working it around. Shot and good by Parrish Hickman. And it's a 10-point, 29-19 Hoosier lead. Inside 4 minutes. Jadlow, no place to go. Looks. Sloan and out to Hillman. Inside, Jadlow posts up, block. Edwards quiets the crowd.
Boy, he really likes to get that ball in a helter-skelter situation because he knows he can get away from his man. He takes a dribble to the left, and he's wide open for that jump shot.
Oh, a little bump there. Jamal goes down. Kassler with no call. Wolf working on Edwards.
Look how far out Michigan State's running their offense. That's a big plus for Indiana.
Well, but it's the guards that are out. The forwards are trying to get something to work inside. There's a foul on Sloan. You're right, Les. It appears to me that when they get that big a separation against Indiana's defense, they're ineffective.
Harder to get that pass into the forward. That time Sloan got called for the foul on a drive by Smith across the middle. And you see the Michigan State bench. Smith, their leading scorer, at about 18 points a game, and right now he's held down to 2 points, 1 field goal.
That's this free throw. He had 18 against Indiana in the last game at Assembly Hall. Sloan comes out and is replaced by Chucky
Oliphant came in.
Yes.
There you see the free throws. Michigan State's 2 of their last 9 shots from the field, so they're having a little trouble. Oliphant had a good game against Michigan. Only played 4 minutes. Made 2 shots, though, on him, a three-pointer.
And that's the Spartans' first trip to the line. Those 2 free throws by Smith. Edwards, baseline. And nobody comes around now. Hillman. Oh, there's real bumping and pushing inside. Hickman. Jadlow wanted the ball. He and Hickman really fighting for it. Edwards goes to the basket. It's not going to count. He travels. But I have to credit, and you folks should have been able to see that on the camera shot, Jadlow clearing Hickman out to open it up.
He made the travel, though. 9 turnovers. That's been the only bad part of the game so far for Indiana, is those turnovers. 9 already in the first half.
Michigan State with a chance to whittle in again. They trail by 10. 2:13 left. Redfield. And the foul will go against Indiana, and that's Oliphant. Redfield got his hands underneath Oliphant and drew the foul.
And that's 17 fouls, so Indiana over the limit. Michigan State at the line. This will be Redfield.
Redfield is a 68% shooter from the line. The Spartans as a whole 71%. Indiana about 4 percentage points better than that over the season. And Redfield misses, and it's saved by Oliphant with Edwards there to protect. Meeks looks back at Knight and wants to see what the coach wants to do.
I think run some clock. There's only 2 minutes left. And I think 1 or 2 more possessions here will be good. Indiana should have close to a 10-point lead.
Throw it away. Indiana will go back to the bench again, and that's Lyndon Jones, and he'll come in for Jamal Meeks. Jamal picked his dribble up and passed before he looked.
10 turnovers now for Indiana. You see Coach Knight talking to Jamal. I just mentioned they want to run some time and only have 1 or 2 possessions, and that hurts when you throw the ball away. Michigan State may get it back twice now before the buzzer.
No good. Jadlow. And Jadlow is virtually cylindered by a couple of arms as he brought that ball down, but no call.
Good play by Lyndon. Jay wanted the ball, but
that'll go against Jadlow. Jadlow and Hickman pushing underneath, and Todd looks up as to say, why me? But that, boy, I could see that.
He's got to be careful, and that's going to be free throws at the other end. You see him talking to the official about it, but he's going to come out right now, and Coach agrees with it. You see in motion with that left hand, but you can't do that without getting called for a foul.
Well, the fans get on the little bit of verbal discipline that he's getting Jadlow over there right now, but you have worked under him, the coach, for 3 years. Here's a missed free throw saved by Anderson. It's best to be corrected when the error's made, Laz.
That's right, and Todd's going to play in that second half, and the same situation is going to rise. He's got to keep that elbow from flying because he can get open, as we've seen early in the half, 2-3 feet from the basket.
Anderson, that shot was way off the mark. And they'll work on the freshman now for a little bit. So with 1:05 remaining, Indiana, as you so aptly put it, Laz, is failing to work the time off the clock.
Let alone, even if you do, you need to get a shot off. If you're going to lose the ball in 10 or 15 seconds, at least make sure it's a shot at the basket. And that's twice now they haven't been able to get the shot at the basket.
Well, they have their perimeter shooters in there. Kirk Mann's just handling the ball. This is Hall, Jesse Hall. Back to Mans. He won't fire. He steps in and scores. He was in three-point area, put up the fake, and then stepped in. He has 2. And it's an 8-point Indiana lead with 31 seconds. Now the clock.
You've got to look for that one shot right now and handle the ball so that Michigan State doesn't get another shot. So the worst you could do is 8-point lead at the half, and that's exactly what Hillman's done. Bring it out.
Well, there's no shot clock. Down to 15 seconds. Indiana will make sure that Michigan State, well, I say make sure, you never know, make sure that Michigan State will take the last shot. And or Indiana takes the last shot. Just as I say that, a pass hits the side of the backboard, and it's out of bounds to the Spartans.
Got to put pressure on now. 6 seconds left, and Coach mentions up just full court pressure.
Wolf is back in. Remember, he's a 50% shooter. Number 44, Scott Sakel, is in. And they got some height in there now. 6'8" senior from Houston. He replaces Redfield. You have Kurt Mans. You have Wolf. And you have, check the scene. Yes, Smith is in there. They're all three the three-point shooters. Paul, 1 second. Oh, that's a miracle shot. It won't go. And we've come to the end of the first half. That's the end of the first 20 minutes of action from Jenison Field House. The score, Indiana 31, Michigan State 23. This is the Indiana University Basketball Network.
When you trust your Hooks pharmacist in green to fill your prescription, you get more than just medication.
And remember, Mrs. Rogers, these may make you drowsy, so don't drive after taking them.
The professional advice of your Hooks pharmacist in green is a very important part of your prescription.
Now remember, it's important to take the antibiotics until they're all gone.
When you have a healthcare question, ask us. We're here to help. Because at Hooks, we like to see you smile.
After all those meetings in Minneapolis and conventions in Kansas City, we think you could use a little change of pace. And after 40,000 miles in TWA's frequent flyer program, that's just what you get. Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are. Because sometimes the shortest distance between 2 points is not a line, TWA created the Advanced Boarding Pass. Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
At Hardee's, we don't use just any old fish for our fish sandwich. No, 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 no. To win you over, we go to the icy depths of the North Atlantic for whole fillets of moist, flaky fish on a multi-grain bun. All because we never forget you can always go someplace else. Next time you're in the neighborhood, why not drop in? Now get a fisherman's fillet sandwich and large fries for only $1.99 at Hardee's.
It's a gamble. Each spring they wonder what the weather and what the price of things will bring. But it's the only work most farmers know, and there isn't anything else they'd rather do. There have been better times than now. A few have been worse. But self-reliance makes you a survivor. The next time you sit down to a meal, remember the hard-working folks that put food on our tables. Your local Chevy dealers salute farmers.
You're the heartbeat of America.
You better hurry because time's running out for H.H. Gregg's tax relief sale. For only $3.99, get a great buy on this cable-ready Zenith 25-inch color with remote. Shop H.H. Gregg today.
We're at halftime. There's the score, 31-23 Indiana. At one time, a 12-point lead. Now it's down to 8. And Laz, we talk about intensities. Indiana has shown a lot of intensity out there on the court, but it has to be, according to Bob Knight, intensity with purpose, and they let a few things get away from them.
Right there at the end, I thought they could have done a better job of controlling the ball. It's important to get that lead against the team, especially on the road, kind of take some of that fire out of them, and that's what Indiana did. A good first half. They shot well. The pressure on defense was very good. It's just those turnovers, 10 unofficially turnovers. That could have been 10 more possessions at the shots at the basket. They didn't get it. So I think that's the thing I'll mention, holding on to the ball.
Also, creation of things. Indiana's doing a lot of that. They're getting the ball inside to Jadlow, but this tempo of the game I'm still in question about.
Well, it's been a game where Jud Heathcote knows that Indiana's a perimeter team, just like he is, and so he's trying to take that perimeter away and force them inside. That's why Jadlow and Anderson have got the shots inside, and that's not all bad because Indiana would like to get the ball low. Jadlow made a few mistakes there. He'll come back a little bit in the second half. Anderson made a nice shot, so I think they got to look more for an inside game if that's what Michigan State's going to give them.
All right, tonight's game is coming to you from Jenison Field House. The last time we'll be here, and of course on the campus of Michigan State. The score at halftime, you see it, the Hoosiers by 8.
No matter where you're farming, no matter what you grow, all across America, with the people you need to know.
Most Cyanamid Agri-Center dealers offer custom application service, and that can save you time and money. Using only the finest products and equipment, you know the job will be done right.
Agri-Center means
Ask about custom application at your Agri-Center dealer.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality. A Beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
The organizers of a recent national sports event had a slight coordination problem. How to link 34 events in 6 different cities. So GTE designed and maintained a network that not only connected people to information, but made it possible for the competition to begin. You see, at GTE, it's not just communications we offer, it's solutions. Call us. We're ready. Save money. Lots of it. Come to Chi-Chi's Cancun Dinner Special. For $6.95, you get 2 big seafood enchiladas stuffed with a blend of snow crab, bay shrimp, and whitefish. You even get Chi-Chi's own incredible Mexican fried ice cream. Chi-Chi's Cancun Dinner Special. A great way to save a few $100.
Intercollegiate athletics plays an important part in the social life of a university. Indiana University President Thomas Ehrlich recently talked with education professor Marianne Mitchell and professor of geology Hayden Murray, both of whom serve as faculty representatives to the Big Ten and the NCAA.
One of the things that's excited me most about coming to Indiana is the wonderful way in which intercollegiate athletics is a rallying point for the whole university, for alumni, for students, for faculty, for staff. It's so exciting, of course. 52-7, that helps a lot, too.
Well, one of the reasons that our athletic program is excellent is the fact that we have a very, very strong and very good athletic director, Ralph Floyd. And Ralph has surrounded himself by a group of coaches that are probably the outstanding group in the Big Ten, and they are among IU's finest teachers.
Well, I think our coaches really are excellent in working with the student athletes. You know, we have over 600 men and women student athletes who serve as representatives of our university. And I think they do an excellent job of representing the quality of our institution.
I am so impressed in the classroom and on the playing field how those students, the women and the men, championship track, championship in so many fields, but are able to bring together all their talents. And that's good teaching and dedication. It's wonderful.
Well, we've won so many championships, but we can be proud of their academic achievements because, you know, this year we have 25 student athletes on the football team, all of whom are graduating, and our seniors on the basketball team are all graduating, too. I think that really says a lot about our academic integrity.
Well, your own dedication as 2 faculty members who care so much about academic standards and also about intercollegiate athletics underscores that point.
Well, the fact that our coaches are so honest is certainly a factor in our program, and also the fact that the athletics are controlled by an athletics committee, which is predominantly comprised of faculty members. That helps our program tremendously.
Put that all together, and you also have a lot of fun, too, and it really makes for an exciting set of times, doesn't it?
Well, I think our intercollegiate athletics program really shows the academic integrity of the institution and is a showpiece for us.
It certainly is. It's sort of a rallying point for alumni, for students, for faculty, and everybody associated with the university. It is the glue that sort of brings all of us together, and such an excellent program.
People ask me, what's the most surprising, striking thing you found since you came to Indiana? And I say something that usually surprises them. It's pride. Pride in those who walk around our campus wearing Indiana T-shirts and sweatshirts. Most important, though, is the fact that when people throughout our state are watching Indiana basketball or watching Bob Knight's wonderful teams, they know they're watching Indiana University. They identify it as their university. It is their university throughout the state, and that's true for all our teams. And that's what makes it so exciting, and that's what gives them, as well as us, so much pride.
There's the score at halftime, 31-23, Indiana with the lead. Let's pause now to hear from our local stations. This is the Indiana University Basketball Network.
Living, loving, building, growing, hometown proud America.
Schwab's IGA offers values like Pepsi, all varieties, 8 16-ounce bottles, $1.79. Stadium Big Red Franks, regular or hot, $1.69 a pound. And Banquet Fruit Pies, all varieties, 89 cents each. Schwab's has 8 convenient locations to serve you, and we are hometown proud.
Hometown proud America, IGA.
You want to talk about something fascinating? Toasters. You know what I'm saying? Battery-powered Cuisinarts, trips to Tierra del Fuego, all that stuff that banks throw at you. I know you like it. Why else would you have your money stashed in 27 different accounts from here to Yokohama? I mean, you're not exactly Howard Hughes, are you? Look, take my advice. Pull yourself together. If you got $2,500 scattered around, and I bet you do, you rascal, you could put it all together and qualify for Blue Max at Bank One. Blue Max lets you pick from free checking. A Jubilee Visa debit card that works like a check. No annual fee credit card and a bonus on TDs. That's great stuff we're talking about. Keep $5,000 on hand and your checking pays interest. I mean, this is it. This is the account that ends all other accounts. You ought to look into it. No toasters. Sorry.
Blue Max. New from the 18,000 people who care.
Okay, bring in your English muff. We'll work something out.
Once again at the half, Indiana enjoying an 8-point lead, 31-23. There are 2 other contests in the Big Ten this evening at Mackey Arena. Purdue leading the Golden Gophers 38-33. Once again, the Gophers winless on the road in conference play. They won all their home games, however. Also tonight in Columbus, Ohio, in the first half, Michigan now leading Ohio State by 2, 16-14. Don't forget, we'll have our post-game show with assistant coach Dan Dockey from Ted Kitchell. Now let's take it back to East Lansing.
31-23, that's the score. And, you know, it's always nice to feel at home when you go into a foreign park, although the Michigan State fans are really good fans. But they're the boys from Shelbyville. They're up here. They make the long drive. They don't fly like we do, Les. So they're happy to be here, and they're happy, I think, with that 8-point lead. I always use the proverbial mouse in the dressing room. Indiana really didn't close out the final two and a half minutes of play very well. What do you suppose Coach Knight does in circumstances like that?
We had this problem earlier in the year, especially with those big losses, North Carolina, Syracuse, not being able to handle the ball as well as we'd like. And that's, again, the only thing that they did not do well was control that ball. As we look at the stat sheet, too, we'll see that Michigan State took a lot more shots than Indiana did, but Indiana was able to score more field goals. So even though you have that many turnovers, still have a big lead is important. Let's look at it now. 12 of 18 for Indiana, 67%, and they've done the job on the field goal defense as they have all year, leading the conference in 37%. Free throws 5 out of 5, Indiana out. Rebounding, Michigan State 14-11. There's a turnovers, 11-7. That's the stat. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half. This is Edwards outside. This is that nice move he made to the left. He gets around Wolf, and then he gets around Hickman, avoids that stepping out of bounds, and that's how you turn a 2-dribble drive into a nice layup. Jay Edwards with a good drive.
All right, both teams are back on the court. Stay tuned now for second half action. We'll be ready in just a minute.
At the St. Petersburg Times, press operators had to wait while pages were sent by hand from an office miles away. But then, with the help of GTE, they came up with a way to send those pages over fiber optic phone lines, saving precious time and money. You see, at GTE, it's not just communications we offer, it's solutions. Call us. We deliver.
You've seen Ford do this for years, but now there's a big new Chevy with enough power to not only haul tons of trucks up this mountain, but also tow away the entire mountain. The advanced full-size Chevy.
That's today's Chevy truck.
True or false? Heat from an electric heat pump feels cold and drafty, while gas heat feels warm and comfortable. With an efficient gas water heater, you can do all this and still enjoy a hot bath. With an electric water heater, you could be in cold water. Gas gives you more control when you're cooking. Electricity doesn't. You're smarter to choose gas.
Need a little help around the house? Look in the book where you've always found it.
Let's see. Roofers.
Ameritech Pages Plus, the original Indiana Bell Yellow Pages. Need a phone number in a hurry?
Hello, Pete's Pest Control. I've got a slight insect problem.
There's only one place you know you'll find it.
How fast can you get here?
Ameritech Pages Plus, the original Indiana Bell Yellow Pages.
Get your eyewear wardrobe going at Dr. Tavel's Premium Optical. Buy a pair from our fashion collection, get a pair from our premium selection for only $1 at Dr. Tavel's Premium Optical.
All right, a couple of very quick Michigan State plays here. You'll watch Wolf.
He got free there. Anderson made the switch, and nobody picked Wolf up. That was the high lob pass for an easy basket.
And now Jesse Hall. Watch Hall.
There's the pick that came on the back screen. Anderson saw it just a little late, and Hall was up near the rim. Let's look at the scoring. Excellent for Indiana defensively. Wolf, the leading scorer, with 5 points. Smith, their leading scorer at 18, only has 4 points. And for Indiana, Edwards has 12, although he hasn't handled the ball that much. Jadlow 10. He got a lot of those early, and then not much other scoring. So Edwards and Jadlow really holding their own on the scoring, and they are 9 of 11 from the field. Let's watch Jay Edwards. A quick pass inside. Jadlow's got a stuff shot. So Edwards and Jadlow holding the scoring and also doing an excellent job from the field.
All right, we're underway starting the second half. Indiana with the ball, and they go right to Hillman. See what Indiana tries to set up and what changes were modified in the locker room. And it goes to Anderson. He shook his man and leaned in.
Now that was tough. You see him try to drill with that left hand. He's got that soft bandage on there, and it nearly carried that ball, but ended up with a nice 5-foot shot.
I had a chance to talk to him the other day about that bandage on there, and he says that it's very comfortable. The hand is not comfortable. The thumb is still tender.
It hasn't hurt his rebounding because he's gotten quite a few today. He opens the half with one. Look at this layup.
Blocked, and Hillman will go to the line on the foul. Hillman took it right into the defense on that.
Boy, great drive as he got to the baseline and then found nobody else there. Watch this. He gets around Wolf, and everybody at Michigan State has their back turned. Smith got to make the foul from behind.
Substitutions for Michigan State. They go to 23, Jesse Hall.
That's Smith's third foul, and again, he's their leading scorer, held to 5 points here in the first half, and we've only played 40 seconds, and he's already out of the ball game. So a big blow to their offensive power as Hillman gets to the line. He had a nice game against Michigan State earlier.
Joe Hillman's statistics on the season are very impressive, very balanced. 14.3 points per game in Big Ten play. 12, a little over 12 in on the whole season. Misses that free throw. He's 18 of 29 from three-point range, 55% and 79% from the line with 3.5 rebounds. Around it goes to Stegenga and off into the hands on the missed shot of Jay Edwards. Well, he cuts it across quickly, doesn't he?
That's tough to do because you're getting defensive players from all angles.
And he'll go to the line on the foul. And that will go on Montgomery, his first. Another substitution as Jud Heathcote goes to Parrish Hickman.
They're going to call that out of bounds. Let's see whether they do or not. No, that's right. Sam Lickletter steps in. I thought that was the pass. Jay ran to the free throw line trying to get 2 free throws out of it, but Sam Lickletter called that on a pass, which is what it was, out of bounds to Indiana.
Look at Anderson, cut to the paint, pumps and scores.
Oh, what a shot. That looked like a little guard driving through there, a little delay. And Anderson very aggressive. He's got 2 baskets already in the second half.
And very elusive and quick on the first step, Laz.
Very good. Drive to the middle.
Redfield, Montgomery, back to Ken, he fires, it goes. That is only his 4th point. Indiana with an 11-point lead, 36-25. Up to the basket, blocked away. Out to Edwards, stolen. Here they come, a 2-on-9. And they'll go for the 2. Jesse Hall. So the Spartans try to ignite this crowd with a deflection and a steal. And Indiana trying to maintain this lead. 9 points now, 36-27. Off to Jadlow for 2. Oh, he looks like he's out of control, but he just manages to gather it up.
Great pass by Lyndon Jones. He sees the defense draw to him, and then Jadlow makes the roll. Good hands. There was a short distance on that pass. Jadlow was able to come up with it.
Redfield, Anderson with a good adjustment. Wolf for 3. It goes. No, he's on the line. He's on the line.
Sam Licklider right there with the call. That was only 2.
38-29. Jadlow drives. And they call a block. 2 Spartans are down. Jadlow still on his feet. And a foul.
I think one of the things Coach mentioned in the locker room, there's Jud Heathcote, a little puzzled look on his face. Coach must have mentioned, let's take that ball to the basket. You saw Anderson do it, and now Jadlow. They're taking that ball and driving right to the hoop. And this time a block as you see both Spartan players on the floor. Let's see if Indiana does that again the next time they get the one of the big men with the ball inside. Lyndon Jones from the outside.
Well, Lyndon with only his second field goal. But again, Indiana seems to be matching up in perimeter shooting. Inside move. Hickman can't find room. 3 on the way here. That's not going to go. And it's saved on the baseline by Redfield, and he steps out of bounds. Indiana ball.
Nope. They saw that it went off of Indiana, and then Sam Licklider was making the call, but then it hit Redfield standing out of bounds, and Sam changed the call. Jud Heathcote doesn't agree, but I think it was pretty obvious.
Jones takes it to the Indiana side of the floor. Wide pass. Jones back again, collects it in. Now to Edwards, and a push underneath. Wolf guarding Anderson. Anderson just a little bit too much. The 6'8" Anderson and 6'5" Wolf, and Todd comes up with his first foul.
Indiana 4 of 4 from the field in this half, so they haven't missed yet from the field.
That's the 4th team foul as against Michigan State.
Indiana's still looking to pound that ball inside.
Camera position and near catwalk area here in Jenison Field House gives you a good angle as Hillman lets it go. It doesn't fall, and a reach in on Redfield as Jadlow fights for the rebound, and Redfield has picked up his 3rd foul.
Nice play there on an offensive rebound by Jadlow. Redfield doesn't like that call. That's his 3rd. So let's see if Jud Heathcote, he's going to go with Smith, who already has 3.
Jadlow for the stop on the feed from Hillman.
Looks like the offense has really picked up a little smoother, not as many turnovers. And Heathcote is going to go with Smith. He's got to go now. The game's getting out of hand.
Indiana's largest lead, 42-29. Redfield and a block against Jadlow. Will that nullify the basket? Let's wait to see. Mike Stockner with a call. The basket will count.
Let's take a look and see what happens here. Watch the left of your screen. There's Jadlow. And right there's the foul. They can't count that basket. The foul was well before the shot was away.
Yeah, but they do, apparently. And a timeout. We have an official timeout. You're watching Indiana basketball from Jenison Field House in East Lansing, Michigan. The Hoosiers with the lead, 42-31.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, and for the team, for the sweat and for the strive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Today's game is brought to you in part by your local Cyanamid Agri-Center dealer, representing America's best agricultural suppliers and committed to helping farmers care for the land. We hope all of you enjoy today's game.
Well, if there's anyone that has a better eye for whether a basket is good or not, it would be a coach in a basketball game. And Bob Knight, during this last time out, really voiced his disagreement over the good shot or the good basket by Ken Redfield on the foul against Jadlow.
The foul came way before the shot, but that's important because they score the basket and they get the ball back. So a chance for 4 points. Look at that field goal shooting. Both teams well here in the second half.
Redfield, and a foul against Indiana. That goes against Jones, as Hoosier's not really blocking out too well right now and sort of reaching for the ball.
They hold a nice 19-12 rebound edge, but they missed that one. And again, Michigan State with another possession.
So State with Steve Smith to trigger into Redfield. Let's see what they try to employ here. They only trail 31-22. Lean fall away, and that's going to be a foul against Jadlow. And that's 4 on Jadlow. Indiana goes to the bench, and Brian Sloan, and tried to tell whether Bob Knight's disappointed with Jadlow or with the way the officials' calls have gone. Let's take a look.
Let's see what happens here. There's Jadlow coming to help from the weak side. And Redfield bouncer Smith bounces off of him. He's got 14 points and 3 rebounds for the game. And he goes out. Brian Sloan checks in.
Smith been at the line one at a time. He has just 1 field goal. There's the sophomore, 6'6" from Detroit.
4 points on the game, so Indiana's done the job on him.
And gets this one for his 5th. That's his first point of the second half. It's 42-32, back to a 10-point Hoosier lead as the clock ticks down inside 15 and a half remaining. Oh, they're really riding on the shoulder of Jay Edwards. Looks like a box and one. And easy, well, I say easy, it looks easy by Eric Anderson.
And there's the drive. He catches a pass at the free throw line, takes one more dribble in. So that's been the difference in the offense, is move the ball inside and then take a drive.
Well, it doesn't go. Anderson clears an outlet to Hillman. Here comes Indiana, but they're going to hold it up. Yes. Now watch, if you can, follow the action over the shoulder. That's going to be a foul on Hickman. Coming over Anderson. That's the 3rd on Hickman. Next time Indiana moves the ball, let's see whether or not they're in it again. They are chasing Edwards all over the floor. They're right with him, but the rest of the team is playing a 4-man zone.
And that'll leave that inside open, and that's why Jadlow and Anderson seem to be getting that inside driving ability, because there aren't as many players to help.
Okay, there's the zone. Knocked away. Yep, and picked up by Hickman. Michigan State. Yeah, there it is. 3, Kirk Mans. I said you give him room, and he'll light it up. His first from that range, 44-35. Jones. And a whistle. Foul against Michigan State. That's the 17th foul against the Spartans.
And that's 4 on Redfield, number 20. Mentioned he's one of the quicker players for the Spartans. Let's see, Jud's up. Let's take a look at Mans. This is how he got those 40 against Purdue. He had an excellent night from 3-point range. There he is, a set shot, nothing but net. That's going to be some free throws now for Lyndon Jones, and there you see Muller, number 34, coming in for the Spartans. See if he replaces Redfield. Jones makes the first.
Jones 83% on the season from the line. Here's Muller checking in, replacing. You're right, Laz replaces Redfield, who leaves with 4. So now Smith has 3 and Hickman has 3 as well. So they're not really totally insensitive to getting in more foul trouble. And the second by Jones for his 6th point. 46-35. The Hoosiers back by 11. Indiana with an excellent opportunity to sort of open this game up earlier, but they let Michigan State get right back in with a couple of costly turnovers and a couple of baskets. Smith. Jones doing a good job of staying right up on him now with the ball, and he has to release it to Muller. Good drop down to the baseline. Left-handed hook, no good. Wolf, and it's partially blocked. It is blocked, but a foul by Anderson. It's only the second on Eric, who averages 11 points, but he's at 8 in this game, rather. Watch this.
Let's take a look. Hillman missed the block out on Wolf. He gets the rebound, so actually that was Hillman's play, and that's what Coach mentioned to him as he brought him over. If Joe would have blocked out, Anderson would not have picked up his second foul.
Todd Wolf at the line for the first time tonight. As you look at the mentor in his 13th year, 208 Big Ten victories. 3-9 this year. Been a tough year on Jud, but he's handled it well, and I'm very pleased, and he's been a good friend of mine through the years. Very pleased to see that he's not letting a lot of things really argue with that heart of his. He had a heart attack a few years back and has responded well. Oh, what a drop inside to Anderson. Misses. Tipped in by Sloan. Good. Soft side or help side support by Brian Sloan.
It's quite a pass by Edwards. A sneaky little pass there. A bounce pass. And Michigan State had to help, which left Sloan open.
Kurt Mans. There's senior versus senior. Hillman guarding Mans. Drive by Wolf to Jones. Jones comes out again on Wolf. Here's Mann. That's Muller. They want him to shoot, but he's not going to. And a foul, and that's going to go against Michigan State. Joe Hillman just a little too quick.
Yep, that would have been a steal and a basket. Wolf had to make that foul, and that'll be his second, and that's over the limit now for Michigan State. Watch the replay now. The ball comes loose, and Wolf knows Hillman's going the length of the floor, so he makes that foul. Joe's got the 1-and-1 now. A wet spot there on the floor. There's an assist by Coach Schneid as he throws the towel out, and we get that spot cleared up.
Stegenga back in the lineup, the freshman from Grand Rapids. Been ineffective, really. He has 4 points and only scored 4 against the Hoosiers down in Bloomington. But he's averaging better than that on the season. Here's Hillman with the 1-and-1. Now, dead ball opportunities like this with 13 minutes remaining is where Indiana can take good advantage of the situation. The officials, Joe Sylvester, Sam Licklider with the ball, Mike Stockner. They've done a pretty good job of keeping this game under control. Second by Hillman for his 6th point. And with 13-13 remaining, it's 50-37. Muller. No, that's Stegenga. Gets it right back. Blocked, but a foul. Looking down at Bob Knight, he sort of put his head in his hands, and the foul goes against Sloan, his 3rd, as Stegenga makes a good move and gets both Sloan and Anderson off their feet.
This is where we got to be careful. Magnus Pelkowski, of course, did not make the trip. Got 4 on Jadlow, 3 now on Sloan.
I was talking to Magnus the other day. We have mentioned in a couple of previous games that Magnus has a stress fracture of his lower right leg, and asked him how it was responding. They were to x-ray the first of this past week and then make a judgment on that as to how quickly he could return. But it is definitely just from a day-to-day as Indiana throws it away.
Well, Cree Smith has made the trip. He's got a heating pad on that knee. 15 turnovers for Indiana. That time Jones and Edwards not able to hook up.
Over it goes to Smith from the corner. No good, and the rebound is Sloan.
Indiana should slow it down, or can slow it down here. Turnovers have hurt them. They can run some clock now. Make sure they get that good shot. Try to get it inside.
There's the box and one. They're just chasing Edwards all over, and he tries to use a screen to get free. Now they've released the in a 2-3. No, they put Smith right back on Edwards. Smith gets picked off, however, but Edwards is too wide.
This is good offense for Indiana. You need to run that clock down a little bit.
To Anderson, and they leave him alone. Hickman can't risk the 4th foul, and he just lets Anderson go to the bucket.
Even though there's still 12 minutes left, that's the kind of offensive series Indiana likes. They ran the clock and still got that good shot.
Michigan State, good baseline move by Hickman, but it's right back up into the hands and a foul, and that's going to go across the wrist. And that goes to Brian Sloan. That's his 4th. Indiana, you know, they only have Jadlow in trouble with 4, but here's his substitution. Brian Sloan with 4. Now, when you look to where you go, Laz, and we'll talk about that in a minute, who do you bring in, if anybody? Timeout. You're watching the Indiana University Basketball Network, where the Hoosiers own the lead, 52-39.
You can't find more advanced cardiac care technology to save your life. St. Francis Hospital Center. Our specialty is life.
Looks good.
It's tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at Chevy, Central Indiana's best-selling full-size pickup. You get $500 cash back, save $1,900 with option discount free. On top of $2,400, you get big tax sale discounts.
Save hundreds on full-size Chevy pickup with more standard power, more payload, and higher MPG than Ford. And now get 4.9 financing on select models at your local Chevy dealer.
Get your cut now before the tax man gets his.
Well, as we were talking about the box and one, or they call it box and chaser as well. There's Edwards, and Smith gets rubbed off underneath, but they pick him up. What does, you pointed out before, what does Indiana have to do against that?
Well, they'll set picks against for Edwards, see if they can get him open. But as we mentioned in the first half, the play that's open is a pass inside to the big guys, and I think they can still continue to do that.
Okay, that's a look at the box and one. Action back in. Michigan State with the ball under their own offensive basket.
There's the shooting, 73% in the second half, 8 of 11 for Indiana. 3-pointers, 2 of 3 for Indiana for the game.
And once again, Michigan State, that's one of their few turnovers here in the second half, but this time comes at a very inopportune time with the Hoosiers owning a 13-point lead, 52-39. Substitution, Redfield is back in replacing Hickman.
Jud's got to bring them in, even though they've got the fouls. That's 10 turnovers now for Michigan State.
At the 11.5-minute mark, Indiana Sting with Brian Sloan. Knocked away, stolen. And here comes Kurt Mans, trying to run the offense. Michigan State's got to get into this game, and their game is outside, so look for them to put it up out there.
So they've got Mans in there now. But look at the defense. Indiana's not giving them what they want. Look how long it's taken them to get a shot.
Stegenga goes right over Sloan for 2. Well, he's doubled his opportunities, his output against Indiana since the last game. He has 8. And it's 52-41. Inside. Oh, look at that big move by Lyndon Jones.
Jones can take some big steps. That was quite a distance to cover on one dribble, but he sees that spacing as wide between the defense and 2 quick steps, and he's buying. That's the second time he's done that now and got a layup out of it.
Down inside. A foul will keep the ball at this end of the court, and it goes against Indiana. And very, very quick call out there.
Indiana's reaching right now, Chuck, and that's the reason they're picking a lot of these fouls up. You don't like to do that. You just want to put pressure on them and make the shot more difficult, because you can get hurt from that free throw line.
That's the second on Joe Hillman. Stegenga, pretty good free throw shooter, hits his first. Now it's Jones again as we replay that drive.
Here's what Lyndon saw. See how wide that gap is? 2 quick steps. He gets around Mans and Smith, and he's right there for the layup.
Misses the second. Rebound as Indiana blocks out well. Interesting, Jay Edwards, with all his scoring, 3.9, averages almost 4 rebounds on the season per game. A drive and a block as Jones just a little bit too quick.
I think he knows he can get around man, and that time took the baseline, and that's going to end up in some free throws.
Well, they're going to take Kurt Mann's out and get a little more speed in there. They've got to match up better, and they bring Montgomery back in, and it'll be interesting to see because Jones did not work against Montgomery too much in the first half. Yeah, he was guarded by him, but really didn't work the ball too much. Linden gets the bounce to the ball.
Well, what a steady player now.
That's the difference between a good shooter and a bad shooter. A bad shooter will take that same shot and not get the bounce.
I've been keeping a stat, the sports information office of Indiana. Indiana's 30-5 over the last 2 years when Lyndon Jones has started.
It's amazing.
It's quite a record, showing that good leadership. He missed that free throw.
Stagenga goes right to Redfield, down to Montgomery, underneath, and an easy two by Matt Stagenga. Got underneath Eric Anderson. Stagenga's got a pretty good game going here. 11 points, and 7 of those have come in the second half. Over to Edwards. Inside, and that's going to be a foul on Stagenga, reaching over. I have him for 3.
It's a battle of the 2 freshmen. They're both highly publicized, coming to their respective schools. Anderson with a good game today. 3 fouls now on Matt.
It's back to 11 points for Indiana. Just can't really stretch it out. I know you commented before the game, John. We were talking to some friends up here, some Michigan State people as well, and you mentioned the fact, you know, it's been a long time since we've had a game that really opened up for Indiana. We always have trouble playing up here.
They've been very close games for Indiana. Look at that hand. It's not a big cast, and especially shooting. You don't want to shoot with that left hand. It's just a one-hand push shot, so it doesn't affect his shooting that much. 12 points and 8 rebounds for Anderson in today's game. That's excellent.
Wolf. Montgomery, a little weave across the top. Redfield drops it back. There's the screen it sets up. It won't fall. And blocked by Edwards. That will send Smith to the line. And on Jay, his second foul. Indiana once again a little loose underneath. But that weave, I think, Laz, starts things going, and you keep your defense moving. And when the shot comes so quickly like that, you have difficulty in picking up your blocks.
They got to switch that outside and 2 or 3 times around, and it becomes difficult. Somebody can get loose outside and crash that board. Smith got it that time. Indiana now with a big lineup in there. Smith's only 1 of 8 from the floor. Look at that leading score at 16.7. He's snuck up there now to 6 points, but still well below what he normally does. That's 7.
Well, that one sneaked back in. 9 minutes, 14 seconds. Over to Edwards. Indiana's trying to. Oh, they threw that away. Maybe a lot of work on cutting and passing before the trip to Minnesota, last. 9 minutes even remaining.
17 turnovers now, and again, not a lot of pressure on that one. That one was just thrown away, and that hurts at this point in the ball game.
Stagenga, it won't fall, and over the back, and that foul on Wolf will be his 3rd.
That's better on the block out. Michigan State having trouble shooting from the outside. As Jud mentioned, they are a perimeter team, but boy, they're having trouble. That's a good open shot here. 3 fouls now on Wolf. And Edwards with position inside, and of course that'll be free throws at the other end.
57-46. The Hoosier lead with 8:54 left to play here at Jenison Field House in East Lansing. First point for Edwards, second half.
Gives him 13 for the game. He has 6 rebounds too, so you can see, Chuck, he's above that rebound stat that you just showed. He had 19 in the first game. Seems to be a better second half player, although today he really came through in that first half with those 12 big points.
And Michigan State calls timeout. You're watching the Indiana University Basketball Network, where the Hoosiers lead the Spartans 59-46.
The Egghead Discount Software Company, America's leading software seller, had a growing problem. It seems they were growing, but their communication system wasn't. So the people at GTE analyzed the problem and designed a customized system that improved efficiency, reduced network costs, and left plenty of room for growth. You see, at GTE, it's not just communications we offer, it's solutions. Call us, no matter what size you are.
Ralph Thompson has an extra $5 in his pocket today. Stella Snyder will save $16 on Thursday. There's a reason so many people are smiling this week. Their Hooks pharmacist in green will fill their prescription with a top-quality generic drug. Generic drugs can reduce prescription costs by up to 60%. Ask Hooks about money-saving generics for your next prescription. Because we like to see you smile.
There's some Indiana fans just waiting for us, Laz, just waiting.
And they want to see that Indiana victory, and I think they're starting to feel confident, not nearly as confident
as you or I.
as we are right now. Or really, you can't think this game is anywhere near over. Still a 13-point lead, though.
When time is back in, it'll be Michigan State at midcourt.
10 rebound lead for Indiana, 27-17. Anderson with 8 so far.
Wolf working against Anderson. They work it around. Stegenga. Down it goes, and no good. Tipped up and in. Who gets that?
I think that was Stegenga. He went over Anderson that time, and that blockout is hurt. We mentioned a 10 rebound average or lead for Indiana, but Michigan State hurt him there with an offensive board.
Well, Bob Knight is red in the face when Indiana came down that time. Inside, Edwards puts it up. He's fouled, and that will go against Wolf for his 4th. That ball almost went in. That was down into the inside of the back of the rim. And I think the more we watch Jay Edwards, Laz, the more we respect his ability to get free for his shot.
And even when he's closely guarded, he's got that hanging shot that falls away a little bit. And they can still draw the foul. How many times we've seen him make a shot like that when he gets fouled and then turn in a 3-point play. This one was a little long.
And the second is good for 16. Yeah, I think that's a good point you made. Many times we see that and think he's forcing it or out of position. And he undoubtedly has worked on that many, many, many times. Wolf off to Redfield. Hillman couldn't adjust quickly enough, and Redfield with his 4th basket and 3rd of the second half. Indiana almost threw it away again. Off to Jones, inside cut to Anderson, goes in, won't go, gets it back. Oh, what a move, what a move. He gets it. There is a perfect example of shot fake.
You saw Coach Knight called him over when he got beat on that defensive block out, and I think told him a little bit about rebounding. Watch this. He stays after it. Now watch how he keeps his feet still. There's a fake, and then he goes up. That's excellent for a young freshman. He really got there. But look at Brian Sloan. They know what a good move that was. Makes a 3-point play out of it. Gives Indiana that 14-point lead again. So excellent job of Anderson turning a bad play at the defensive end into a good hustle play at the offensive end.
Good adjustment there by Brian Sloan on the drive by Redfield. Look how they double that. Outside Montgomery. That's not going to go. Indiana makes the save.
He's the point guard, and that's the guy you want taking that 3-point shot.
Jones. Now there's your matchup, see? Whistle, offensive foul. That's another good call by Mike Stockner. A little too quick by Lyndon Jones, and good adjustment by Montgomery.
That's not the way Indiana has to run their offense right now. One-on-one. And that's what Lyndon did there. Got called for the foul. They just need to work that pass, and Coach Knight flipped the ball back to the official. 18 turnovers now for Indiana. Michigan State just 2 of 9 from the 3-point shot. And that foul could go against Anderson.
I think it did. Anderson really fighting to get over the top of Ken Redfield.
And that'll be 3 on Anderson. It is.
Yep.
Got called for dragging down. Look at the left of your screen right there. He's trying to fight across the top. And they got their arms locked up, and that's going to go against the defense.
Now 99% of the time it does.
Right.
7-9, 7 minutes, 9 seconds remaining. There's Brad Bomba along with Coach. Brad always sits to Coach's right. Right of Bomba is Tim Garl, the trainer.
Just 1 of 9 from the floor for Smith. 6 out of 7 from the line. So
well, Montgomery is out, so they recognize now they're probably going to have to give up a little defense as Kirk Mans comes back in. They need the shooting.
They need that three-point shot, especially. 7:09 left. Lead is 13, now 12. And a little full-court press also by Michigan State.
Sloan works it up. There's the break.
Good call for the ball by Edwards that time. They beat that 10-second call by 2 seconds.
Edwards, a little shove, no call. He'll let 3 fly and scores. That's the way you counter. They say 2.
Just getting 2 there, just on the line.
That's a shame. I'd have called that 3.
Yeah, but you're prejudiced, too. You're rooting for Indiana. I am, too, but we don't like to do that on the air.
Mans misses everything. Back to Jay Edwards. And Indiana now showing some patience as Michigan State appears to really be tired now, Laz. They've had to really work hard against Indiana. And they're not chasing Indiana. Here's 3 on the way.
Oh, geez. He could hit those 3-pointers. You mentioned Michigan State maybe a half a step slow now. They swing the ball around, and it's now 17 points, the biggest lead of the game for Indiana.
Wolf, under it goes. Over Hillman, blocked by Edwards, saved by Anderson, off the board. The Hoosiers are just working with what they've got so well.
And now it's really clicking, and Edwards with 21 points, so he's got his average.
Yeah, just a minute you think he's going to be below his average. No. With 8 minutes ago, he only had 13 points, hit his first free throw.
He can score, especially down the stretch. We saw in the Michigan game Sunday where he scored quite a few points at the end. He's 3 of 3 from 3-point range today. He loves to have that ball when the game's on the line.
Oh, back outside, and Indiana almost overplayed that.
Here he goes. Watch it. Shot clock's down. He's going to get a shot right here.
Drops it off. That's a bad pass. He should have taken the shot. And here's the break and the slam by Redfield. We have 5 minutes remaining. Redfield with his 10th point, all from the field, and 8 of those here in the second half. 69-54. The Hoosiers by 15. As the clock begins to work in the favor of Indiana, going for its 12th conference win against that lone loss to Illinois at Assembly Hall in Champaign. And a foul, and he gets the shot off, but he'll go to the line. And that's going to be on Stegengut. And I have unofficially 5 on him, that is. They sound the buzzer, and Stegengut at the 4:35 mark fouls out of this game. But he leads with 13 points and pretty good production after coming back in midway in the second half.
He'll be a good player here. He got 3 rebounds, but he's a forward, and Jud's had to play him at center. But if they get the big freshman who's hurt,
Mike Popolski,
get back here. He hurt his knee. If they get him next year, they can move Matt to a forward, and he'll be a good forward. He's really the same type of player Anderson is for Michigan State.
Popolski, the freshman who has not played, he had that surgery a year ago, and it was an anterior cruciate that has been repaired. But he says he's about 80%. I had a chance to talk to him before the game tonight.
It's good to have another Polish fella in the league, Chuck. It's been a while.
You know
he's a big kid, 6'10", 270 pounds. He is really built. We'll see him next year.
He told me he lost about 30 pounds, too. There's a foul. That's going to go against Jones on a little shot fake and a pump by Kirk Mans. On Jones, that is his 3rd.
It's not a smart foul. You want to keep the clock running. That's that head and shoulder fake. Linden's got to stay down. You see some of the fans starting to leave from the student section.
"21 fouls against Michigan State, 19 against Indiana in that kind of a game. with his 6th point. And that one pops out. Sloan pulls it down to Jones. And now Indiana will work the clock. Somebody has to come to the ball, and there they are. Edwards. And again, I mentioned, when you get into the control minutes of the game, you want the ball in your shooter's hands, and that would be Edwards or Hillman.
Especially Edwards, because he can create his own shot a lot of times.
Indiana's running a point system now.
The kids look for him a lot. I don't think he wants that 3.
Drops it off. Here's Hillman from the line for 2. That worked. It was clumsy, but it worked.
He draws so much attention when he makes that drive that it gives the other players a chance to open. He just made a bad pass to Sloan the time before, but this time Hillman was open.
Drops it off to Wolf for 3. No. And the rebound saved right back into the hands of Redfield. Tries to muscle across Anderson. The steal by Edwards. He has Jones, who takes it right to the rim. Score the basket and count the foul.
That was a 2-on-1, and I think Mans felt he was going to dish to Edwards, but Jones took the drive all the way in and got that layup.
That's the second on Kurt Mans. Now they say the 3rd.
Watch it now. Here's the play. Pass is going to come outside. Mans looks open right there, but Edwards cuts right in front of him. And now the 2-on-1. He gives it up. I think he anticipated it coming back. Jones saw the opening and went with it. And there's the call against Michigan State.
That doesn't fall. Tipped up by Sloan. Saved by Michigan State's Wolf. Redfield into the paint, and Jamal Meeks across the hand is called for his foul. That's the first against Jamal, the freshman from Freeport, Illinois. Jud Heathcote at one end trying to get something, at least some semblance of respect in this game. 73-55 right now, an 18-point Indiana lead. Bob Knight at the other end, very much disenchanted over the way Indiana's fouling. That was the 20th foul against the Hoosiers.
Only 10 points for Redfield. We mentioned his quickness today could be a problem for Indiana. They've done a nice job on him. Edwards out of the game right now. Indiana going with that quicker lineup, probably for a little ball handling, anticipating a press here by Michigan State.
That will be Meeks, Jones, Hillman, Anderson, and Sloan. And Anderson steps right in, good hands, and pulls it down. And they back off, Michigan State. At the 2:58 mark. Clock is ticking. Indiana on its way to its 22nd victory. Bob Knight's 407th at IU and 509th overall. More importantly, it is a 12-1 conference record. And the Hoosiers will hop on their plane and head right out tonight for Minneapolis. Here's a move inside. There's a bump and no call. What do we have? They call travel. There's a bump in the middle of the back. Bob Knight just sort of looks over and says, well, okay.
Let's see what happens inside. Hillman's going to go into the pass because Stockton was going to call a push. Right there you see a push. But we also had the travel came from the outside and a timeout.
You're watching the Indiana University Basketball Network. It's Indiana 73-56.
Americans buy lots of imported cars. Isn't it nice to know that Napa has the parts right here when you need them? Don't miss the boat on parts for imports. Come to Napa.
You know, there are a lot of places where you can look for an auto part. But here's where you'll find it. Napa has parts for imports and other hard-to-find parts. So come to Napa first. We've got your part.
It's tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at Cavalier, Central Indiana's best-selling subcompact. You get $300 cash back. Save $800 with option discount 3. On top of $1,100, you get big tax sale discounts.
Save hundreds on Cavalier, priced thousands less than comparable imports. Plus, Cavalier and selected Chevys offer 4.9 financing. Save now at your local Chevy dealer.
Get your cut now before the tax man gets his.
Well, Well, the fans have had a lot to cheer about, but I imagine the coaching staff is going to have a lot to think about on that trip to Minneapolis tonight, Les.
That 3 o'clock game on Saturday afternoon, so they'll get a day of practice tomorrow. And I'll tell you, it's been very difficult for teams going into Williams Arena this year. Minnesota, an excellent record there. They've beaten Illinois, they've beaten Michigan. As you look at the rebounding, Anderson with 10 rebounds, 31 total for Indiana. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, Indiana's going to have their hands full on Saturday.
Up and tipped in. Give that basket to Redfield following his own missed shot. Minnesota is a team of dichotomies. They are perfect at home and winless on the road. They had a big loss the other night.
Good patience here. That's what you want. Jones, the leader out there now. Him and Hillman will keep the ball. As I mentioned, Edwards out of the ball game, so they can run that 45-second clock now.
Down to 147. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Jeff Oliphant in the lineup. Hillman with a good move, tipped away. And Jones, we have a jump ball, and possession goes to Michigan State. Well, Jones and Kessler get their arms entwined, and now we see, I would say, probably the most athletic. Well, there's no choice now. The two most athletic players on Indiana's team are coming in now. Chucky White and Mark Robinson.
Anderson with a good game today, Chuck. He hit the boards well. He had 15 points. But a good game inside.
Kessler to the right. Outside Kessler, and it's not going to fall. And they're just letting them get away with pushes and shoves under there. Both teams. That's not picking on the Spartans. Both teams really pushing around. Minute, 20 seconds remaining. Cree Smith, this first we've seen him in about 11 or 12 games left.
He's had that problem with the knee. He doesn't have any bandage on it right now. Joe Hillman comes out.
And Joe leaves the game with 8 points. Redfield. Man's working on Meeks. Back to Redfield. Inside the line. That's going to go. Redfield now, he's getting close to his average. He's at his average.
Look at that stat. 26 of 38 for Indiana from the field. 68% for the ball game. And that is excellent. Not as many shots as they usually get in a game, but they sure have made their share.
Indiana, as we're inside now the 50-second mark. Chucky White leans in. It doesn't go. And here comes Redfield. Down to 39 seconds. 3 by Kurt Mann. Mans is over his average at the 33-second mark. Loose ball, and now Mike Delosio seeing some action. Delosio's a 6'4" senior. He was a walk-on last year and scholarship this year by night. He's from Hillsborough, California. He replaces Meeks.
And Indiana 18 of 22 from the line. 82%, so excellent shooting both ways. Also, Jim Sarkeen, number 30 right there, in for Michigan State. Ben Davis product, senior. Be his last time to play against Indiana today.
Over it goes. Drive, and loose ball knocked away. Here comes Mans. It's a 3-on-1. Smith back to defend for Indiana. Mans lets it fly and scores. Just 2 for Mans.
This game is not going to be nearly as close as what the score will indicate. An 8-point lead by Indiana right now.
Smith lets it fly from outside at the buzzer for 3. And that ball, Michigan State ought to put him out on the football field on that pass. But Cree Smith lets a 3-pointer fly right at the buzzer to give Indiana some of those points back again. Well, you see the coach, 509th victory and 407th at IU as both teams adjourn to the north end of the field house, back to their respective dressing rooms. There's the final score. Indiana 76, Michigan State 65. This is the Indiana University Basketball Network.
How you doing? You're real busy these days, right?
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to tell you how to make things easier for yourself. You see, Bank One's just packaged up their best deals on checking, savings, credit cards, loans. This is all the stuff you're running all over town for. It's called Blue Max. Could save you a lot of time and hassle. Check it out, will you?
Blue Max, new from the 18,000 people who care.
Well, now maybe you'll have time to get married. You can raise a family. Watch the car.
Hey, Josh!
Of all the days to run away.
Poor Josh. It's so hot. It's so hot that the ocean's drying up.
Take it.
Gonna be even hotter tomorrow.
Looks so good, I just gotta have it. Can't beat it.
I guess we'll have to rent out his room.
Can't beat the feeling.
All right, final score, 76-65. Indiana's record now goes to 12-1 in the conference, 22, and 5 overall. Some late scores, Laz.
Yes, Purdue and Minnesota tonight. Purdue has a 10-point lead, 66-56 late in the second half. And also Michigan 75, Ohio State 61. Again, late in the second half. So it looks like Michigan and Purdue will get victories tonight in the Big Ten.
Indiana is able to get 4 in double figures again tonight, led by Jay Edwards with 21. Eric Anderson had 15. Todd Jadlow, who did not play a lot of the second half, had 14. And Lyndon Jones had 11. We will be back with more and continue with our post-game show. You're watching the Indiana University Basketball Network. Final score, the Hoosiers by 11.
No matter where you're farming, no matter what you grow, all across America, we're the people you need to know.
Most Cyanamid Agri-Center dealers offer custom application service, and that can save you time and money. Using only the finest products and equipment, you know the job will be done right. Ask about custom application at your Agri-Center dealer.
This year, you'll find something new on the Chevy Cavalier. A 3-year, 50,000-mile warranty that protects it from bumper to bumper. It's the best way we've found to cover a car that looks this good.
When you think of all the fun it gives you, the new Chevy Cavalier just could be one of the best bargains you've ever driven.
Ooh, the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet.
That's today's Chevrolet.
As we mentioned earlier, Indiana will dress. They'll shower, dress. The coach will talk at the press conference, and then they'll board their plane and they head off for Minneapolis tonight. They'll get their sleep tonight, then go out on Williams Arena Court tomorrow for a little shoot-around and familiarization, and then rest the rest of the day, and then the game Saturday afternoon at 3.
As we mentioned, that's a tough place to play. Minnesota's got a very good record there. They do have an injury. Richard Coffey is out for about 2 or 3 weeks, so he's their big, strong rebounder. Remember him. But they have played well. They've beaten some good teams there. That is going to be a difficult game for Indiana.
All right, we will continue with our postgame after we hear from our local stations. This is the Indiana University Basketball Network.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, for the team, for the sweat, for the drive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
It's tax sale time at your local Chevy dealers. Do you know how much money they have to give back before the tax man comes? Take a look at Beretta from the best-selling compact line. You get $600 cash back. Save $1,400 with option discount 3. On top of $2,000, you get big tax sale discounts.
Save hundreds on Beretta with V6, Air, and much more, all for much less than comparable imports. Plus 4.9 financing on selected models at your local Chevy dealer.
Get your cut now before the tax man gets his.
Now there's a better way to stain wood siding. Weiss Pre-Staining. Weiss Pre-Staining uses machine coat by Olympic. And Weiss Pre-Staining has a high-quality finish. Choose from over 100 custom colors and get maximum durability with minimum maintenance. All the result of a superior, long-lasting stain. Machine pre-stain before the siding is applied. If you're building, ask your builder about Weiss Pre-Staining or call us direct. We're the mark of excellence in pre-stained wood siding. Weiss Pre-Staining.
Double meal deal, please.
double meal deal, please?
You'll see a lot of twosomes at Kentucky Fried Chicken, because we've got a special double meal deal. A meal for two at one low price, just $5.99. 5 pieces of juicy chicken, buttermilk biscuits, mashed potatoes and gravy, coleslaw, all for just $5.99. So come on in for Kentucky Fried Chicken's double meal deal.
Double meal deal, please. Just for one. You're not hungry?
Make it a double meal deal today.
And those of you watching us tonight over many of these same stations can see this game Saturday. The Golden Gophers tough at home against the Hoosiers, and game time is 3 o'clock. Our pregame will be at 2:30, and we hope most of you can make plans to be with us then. Laz, what do you say?
There you see the two coaches, a little sloppy, 20 turnovers for Indiana, but 68% from the field, 82% from the line, and they had 10 more rebounds than Michigan State. A solid win. Still could make some improvements, but still on top of the league.
Well, I hate to say goodbye to this place. Jenison Field House has been the scene of many a battle. I remember 1979 when we were here with the great Magic Johnson, but on to bigger and better things, and that stands for this man as well. We'll see you from Minnesota Saturday afternoon. Until then, so long, everybody.
Indiana University basketball has been brought to you in part by your Central Indiana Chevy dealers. In Central Indiana, we drive Chevy. By Bank One, we're 18,000 people who care. By Counter, more performance, more consistency. Counter gives you more. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Indiana University basketball has also been brought to you in part by Hook's Dependable Drugstores.
Indiana wins on the road. The Hoosiers now lead Illinois by 3 in the Big Ten standings. The post-game show brought to you by Union Federal is coming up next.
You're looking at one of Buick's best-selling motor cars. Hoosiers are setting new purchase records. It's the Buick Regal, a beautiful buy that just got better. Your Central Indiana dealers are offering pre-tax discounts and savings up to $1,000 by combining a $400 cash back with an option package bonus up to $600. So good an offer, all great Americans are on the road to Central Indiana for Buick Regal savings. Some even buy cable car. You can beat them and the taxman to your Central Indiana Buick dealer. One's in your neighborhood.
Well, when I tell people that I work at a dating service, they typically have a lot of questions. And one of them always is, does that really work? That one never fails to take me by surprise. Matchmaker International has been in business since 1974. Thousands of people have gone through our program, and most of them are happily involved in dating. I mean, a great number of the marriages that you read about in the paper are our couples. So when I'm asked if it really works, the answer is always a resounding yes. Yes, it definitely works.
Good evening. I would like to point out our sponsor's outrageous behavior. Highland's Moonlight Madness sale. Friday and Saturday only. Save a tidy sum on a multitude of mechanisms. Like this 19-inch color TV with on-screen display, just $2.99. Unfortunately, our sponsor's ailment is only temporary. A pity.
Just who might you be, fella?
You know who I am. Against all odds, he stands alone. Protector of an island paradise.
What do you want? Freedom?
Attacked.
Vengeance is futile. It never ends.
Besieged. Triumphant.
You know that one day you're going to have to betray them.
Nick Nolte, Nigel Havers, Farewell to the King. Rated PG-13.
Starts Friday, March 3rd at selected theaters.
It's 2 for 1 time at Watson's. 2 15-foot pools for $5.99. Pool tables, 2 for $10.99. Spas, 2 for $22.99. That's Watson's.
University postgame show is brought to you by Union Federal Savings Bank. All your bank should be.
11-point victory for the Hoosiers. Let's go take you back now to East Lansing, where assistant coach Dan Dockage is standing by with Chuck Marlowe.
Yeah, okay. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. We've got a lot to talk about here because we received an official statistic just a minute ago. And, Dan, I'm going to hit you with it right now. You heard it just for the first time. Indiana shot 27 for 38 tonight for 71%, and that breaks the Jenison Field House record.
Well, that's great. You know, obviously the most important thing is to win the game, and that's obviously a big reason why we won the game, because we shot the ball so well. I thought our guys did a great job of being patient. We moved the ball, we worked, you know, to get us started. Jadlow did a good job of getting open inside for some baskets, and then Eric finished that off inside late in the game. But Hillman again and Edwards, particularly in the second half, did a great job of moving without the basketball.
It may have been well disguised to me, and shows my inadequacies maybe in some respect, but I didn't see control of tempo in the first half going either way. I thought we played a game, they played a game, we just played our game better.
You know, I thought in the first half that we played really well up until about the 4.5-minute mark when we got stuck on 31 points. I thought we were moving the ball well. I thought defensively we were playing outstanding. You know, we had them 31 to 19, so we were playing really well defensively. But then the last 4 minutes we got a little stagnant. We started making some turnovers. We had 11 turnovers by halftime, which is an awful lot to have, and I thought that enabled Michigan State to cut it by 8 points. But I really thought that, again, for the first 16 minutes, we did a good job of controlling the tempo, of controlling the ball game, and we kind of let it get away from us for the last 4 minutes of the half.
They have a game so similar. It's a perimeter shooting game that they can have. Indiana, of course, can knife inside in the paint, but we saw them going inside much to Redfield, also to Stegenga, but there was a good shutoff on Stegenga. You sort of pushed him away early in the game.
Well, we tried to. The thing we talked about going into this game was that it was a difficult team for us to match up with. It was difficult for Todd and Eric Anderson to match up with Stegenga and Redfield simply because they were perimeter players, and Eric and Todd aren't used to going outside and playing perimeter people. So that made it for a tough matchup for us. And in the first half, we were able to keep them pretty much outside. But in the second half, I think Redfield, who was an outstanding athlete, got a little bit more active, taking the ball to the hole, following up drives. And we didn't do a very good job of blocking out. And Redfield was able to get to the board. As far as Stegenga, he's only a freshman. I think there was a lot of rough play inside, and I think that may have pushed him out a little bit. But it was a team, like you said earlier, that was very difficult for us to match up to. And their perimeter people are outstanding, and our perimeter people had to do a good job of containing them, and I think they did.
Smith would not have reached any ways near his average had he not gone to the line tonight. He was one. He had 1 for 9, I think, from the field.
Yeah, we didn't do a very... We got in the bonus pretty early, and we did not do a very good job of playing good position defense. In fact, twice, I believe, they shot air balls over the basket, and they were able to retreat them. So that shows that we're out of position. I think we were reaching and grabbing and getting some fouls inside that maybe normally we wouldn't commit. And Smith is an outstanding player. He's hindered a little bit by a bad knee, but he's an outstanding player, and you're not really going to hold guys down that are that good a player.
Okay, it's on to Minnesota, and I know you're going to run back after the news conference here in just a minute and hop on that Gulfstream and head out to Minneapolis. You guys will sleep there tonight, and then what time? A walk through tomorrow about noon?
I think we'll probably work out about 1 o'clock. Just get the guys moving a little bit so we're not just sitting around the hotel getting groggy. And then we'll probably walk through in the hotel later on in the evening. But you know, Minnesota has beaten Iowa. They've beaten Michigan. They've beaten all kinds.
They're losing to Purdue tonight.
Are they losing? Are they? Well, at home they've beaten all those teams, and so you know going into that game it's going to be a difficult game. They've taken a certain amount of pride, it seems like, in defending their home court. You know, without Richard Coffey, their outstanding rebounder.
What's that going to do?
Well, he's awful tough against us. He's a very active kid at 6'6" and about 210 pounds. He's a tough guy, and we have a hard time containing him on the offensive backboard. So that's really obviously going to help us. But guys walk in, a kid named Walter Bond has been playing outstanding for them. They've got good athletes. You know, it seems to me like the first game a player's out, a team adjusts to it. And that's obviously what Minnesota's doing tonight against Purdue. They're trying to adjust without Coffey, and then they'll have adjusted to it by the time we get there on Saturday. So we're looking for a very tough ball game.
Well, we don't have a final score, but we do understand the Gophers lost to Purdue
tonight.
Did they?
Yeah. Well, the only other thing I would ask is I've got this new jacket that I'm trying to match to yours. If I can get one of these patches, I think that'd be great.
Well, we'll see what we can do. You've put the word out statewide. We're going to have to do something about that now. Hey, have a safe trip.
Okay.
Get some rest, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan, very much. Final score here again. Indiana wins it by 11 points. And now back to the studio where Ted and Gary are waiting.
You like that red sport coat?
Hey, you know, he really blends in well. You know, he and Chuck and Laz all have them. I don't know if it's the Three Musketeers or the Three Stooges.
We had one more. We have a barbershop quartet. What about that 71% shooting up there?
Yeah, the guys really shot well. Obviously, we didn't take very many shots because we turned the ball over so much, but when we did take them, we were able to hit them.
All right, let's take now a look at those updated scores that we have to pass along to you. We mentioned on that comment there from Chuck that Purdue did win. In fact, they did. There it is, 78-63, so that scheme continues for the Gophers, winning every game at home in the Big Ten Conference, losing every game on the road. Here's the other one. Michigan wins tonight over Ohio State at Columbus, Ohio, 89-72. So now let's take a look at the updated standings. And Indiana is where we like to see Indiana on top, 12-1. Now a 3-game margin over Illinois. The Illini at 9-4 and idle this evening. Iowa also idle at 8-5. Michigan goes to 8-5. Wisconsin, a surprise a bit, 7-6. In the second 5, we have Ohio State at 6-7. Then Minnesota, Purdue, Michigan State, and Northwestern. So we will take a break and come back with more of our post-game show brought to you by Union Federal. Stay with us.
You've gained a lot of experience over the years. You know how to get the most out of life and your money. When it comes to personal banking, you know the value of Lifestyle 55 from Union Federal, a free checking service exclusively for people 55 years of age and better. When life is at its best, you deserve the best.
Union Federal Savings Bank. All your banks should be.
A lot of people think I work for so many ball clubs because I had a bad temper or something. Actually, once you get to know me, I'm really a pussycat. If you don't believe that, wait till you hear this. Edie's Grand Light is as good as regular ice cream, even though it's lower in calories and 93% fat-free. Plus, it's all natural. And it tastes great. Take it from Mr. Nice Guy.
Indiana's premier gun and knife show will be at the National Guard Armory in Indianapolis, Holt Road at Minnesota Street. Thousands of guns and knives will be on display. Military weapons, collector's guns, rifles, and shotguns. Sellers, bring your used guns and knives. Buyers will be on hand. If you're a sportsman, collector, or gun enthusiast looking for a great buy, don't miss the Indiana Gun and Knife Show at the Indianapolis National Guard Armory, Saturday, February 25th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, February 26th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Be there.
The tax duck is here at your Hoosier Olds family dealer.
We must sell our inventory or pay the tax.
Plus, buy Cutlass Supreme and Oldsmobile will buy your gas for the first year plus $500 cash back. Buy a new Olds 88 Royale and get free gas for a year plus $400 back.
Olds dealers are cutting prices because the tax duck is here.
Larry Cummings, Piercy, Russ Dillon, Dick Krieg, Harry Stevens, Quality.
Join the Hoosier Olds family.
Going on now.
Well, Ted, is this a game where you draw a line and say we did this well, we didn't do so well over here? You have 71% shooting, but 20 turnovers.
Well, I think that we, played well at times. We played very well offensively at times, obviously, by the way we shot the ball, but I thought we got very lax offensively also, especially in the second half when we had a chance to take a lead many times. We just didn't complete the play. Joe Hillman got us started off. He did an excellent job taking the ball to the hole. It's a nice hesitation move. And he shows the ball to the guy, pulls it back down, and then gets it in the basket. He's able to get us a three-point play, and it's things we needed to get us started. Jay, another great job of passing the ball. The last two games, earlier we showed what an excellent job he did against Michigan of passing the ball, and again, he got Todd Jadlow some easy buckets. Eric Anderson falls asleep. That's a play that I'm sure that they prepared for in practice, and Eric just fell asleep, and the guy was able to score. Jay Edwards, another great individual move. As everybody knows, Jay's excellent when he's got the ball, and made another excellent move there. Again, he makes a good pass inside. Obviously, IU didn't take a lot of shots tonight, but when they did, the reason why is because they were getting a lot of close-in shots. Also, they were getting the free throw line a lot. Again, Eric falls asleep inside. This is an obvious switch. When Jay sees the man going down the screen, he's going to take 35, automatic switch. Eric is watching the ball, which is good, but he needs to watch his man out of the other eye, and because of it, Todd Wolf's able to slip behind him and get an easy layup. IU, again, at times was very good, but then at times was very poor also. Jay Edwards slips out behind the screen, is able to hit a three-pointer. Even when IU seems to play not so well, Jay seems to be able to pull us out because he's able to do, so well offensively.
After the win by 1 point over Michigan last Sunday, Indiana, something we did not mention in the pregame, up well in the ratings. One poll had them at 4, one poll had them at 6. As a player, how important is it to have that good rating?
To me, it was never important at all. The only rating I was looking at was where I was, sitting in the Big Ten, because that was the most important thing to me, and I think that should be the most important thing to this team, because this team has never won a championship, and I think that will be the thing that Coach Knight wants to get under their belt, is to win a championship, whether it be a Big Ten championship, whatever. So I know he's looking for that Big Ten championship right now, and whether they're ranked number 1 in the country or number 50th in the country, their objective is going out each game and improving. And tonight, I think they improved in some phases of the games, but then I think that they, were a little lax and fell asleep in other parts of it.
We do have some other matchups involving top 20 teams, so we'll take a break and come back with those. Stay with us.
Success means hard work, dedication, and making the right choices. The right choice in personal banking is the checking with interest account from Union Federal. Why pay service fees when your checking account can earn extra cash for more important things?
Like piano lessons.
As difficult as threading a needle or taking a step, the victim of stroke or other injury has one goal. In South Central Indiana's only inpatient rehab center, patients make careful progress towards regaining independence and returning to a fuller life in their own home sweet home. The sweet, simple goals of living. The new rehab center of Bloomington Hospital can make all the difference. All it takes is a phone call.
I want a big, juicy, beefy burger. Give a Micro Magic right now. I want a fast, delicious burger, baby. Give a Micro Magic right now. Give a Micro Magic, give a Micro Magic, give a Micro Magic right now.
For big, juicy, beefy burgers and cheeseburgers in 2 minutes.
Give a Micro Magic, give a Micro Magic, give a Micro Magic right now.
You're looking at one of Buick's best-selling motor cars. Hoosiers are setting new purchase records. It's the Buick Regal, a beautiful buy that just got better. Your Central Indiana dealers are offering pre-tax discounts and savings up to $1,000 by combining a $400 cash back with an option package bonus up to $600. So good an offer, all great Americans are on the road to Central Indiana for Buick Regal savings. Some even buy cable car. You can beat them and the taxman to your Central Indiana Buick dealer. One's in your neighborhood.
In the top 20 now, the battle for Arizona, a late starting contest. We do have a partial, though, for you early in the contest. Arizona leading Arizona State now 13-2, also early. Duke, number 8 in the country, leading NC State, number 15, at 28-19. Elsewhere, one not-so-surprising contest with number 11 West Virginia beating St. Joe 65-50. But here is the surprise, a high-scoring affair with LaSalle upending Florida State 101-100. Closer to home, the Purple Aces of Evansville continue to win with Jim Cruz at the helm, 85-71, and the University of Indianapolis victorious by 3 over Kent Wesleyan. And, of course, we will have Coach Bill Green from the U of I with us next Wednesday evening. He, the coach of the Marion Giants, to 3 straight Indiana high school basketball titles. Well, a big day for basketball coming your way Saturday here on Channel 4. We have a potpourri of round balls, starting with the Gal State basketball semifinals at 10:30. And then we switch to the Indiana-Minnesota contest from Williams Arena. We'll have the pregame for you at 2:30. Then more Big Ten action with the Wildcats of Northwestern at East Lansing against the Spartans of Michigan State at 5:15. And then we have the Girls State Basketball Championship contest for you at 7:30. Ted, coming up on Saturday, Williams Arena. It is tough to beat the Golden Gophers there. They're unbeaten in Big Ten competition at home.
Obviously, they play with a lot of confidence when they play in front of their home fans. As Dan mentioned, they've got a lot of excellent athletes, and you know, they're coming off a loss at Mackey Arena tonight, so I'm sure that they'll play very strong, and I think that we'll have to give a better effort than we gave tonight.
We'll see you at 2:30 on Saturday.
I'll be here.
Hope to see you as well. For Ted Kitchell, I'm Gary Lee. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned now for the Channel 4 10 o'clock news.
The Indiana University postgame show has been brought to you by Union Federal Savings Bank. All your bank should be.
Moving to Meadowwood Retirement Community is the beginning of a new life. The spacious apartments and beautiful garden homes at Meadow